Hey everyone, I'm Tassenix, and welcome to Plotting and Scheming, the Grand Arena focused podcast centered around the top 100 of Kyber 1 for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I'm joined by most of the regular cast here. Dagger should be joining us a little bit later in the show. He's temporarily detained, but I do have TJ, Sasha, Aisha, and Fatal here. TJ, how you doing today?
Great, man. Not prepared for GAC, but an amazing vacation. And cruises are always a plus. I
Glad to
recommend
hear
it
it.
highly.
You're,
Except
you're
for your DCs.
refreshed for the new season,
Oh no, I'm absolutely not prepared at all. It's okay. I'm gonna walk in blind, but I,
then.
I, I had a good time.
Good stuff. Sasha, Aisha, how you doing this evening?
Doing well. Doing well. I'm off this week from a GAC perspective and treating it as such. But yeah,
Yeah,
good
you're
man.
you're coming to this recording with the heart of the learner.
I am my feet are all sandy and I'm just walking in off the beach. That's all it is.
Very nice, very nice. Fatal, how's it going this evening?
Good, feeling feisty. See what
Alright.
happens.
Well, guys, let's get into the regular agenda here. First up, preparations for week one, mods, relics, everything but Datacrons. We'll cover Datacrons next, but remods galore. First, I grew envious of a couple other people who tacked on more offense to their slacker, and their speed was roughly competitive, maybe a couple less than mine, but not enough. Like I didn't feel like that mattered. And I've had this guy about 595 speed, 163,000 health, and 12,000 offense for years. So I traded away 3,000 health and 5 speed to add a cool 1,000 more offense. Now we're up to 13k base. He's mean. Some of his slightly faster mods got downshifted, believe it or not, to JMK. So he's absolutely the fastest he's ever been at 585, just booking it. Ray, she's usually having some bulk like this and offense like this. So 236,000 health and like 12,600 offense. But 535 speed is rare for me. I've usually had her somewhere right around 500. So she's dramatically faster. Yeah, at your recommendation, so we talked about this last episode. You were selling the virtues of defense for the pirate team, and I went ahead and did a pretty major overhaul of them. So got them equipped as shown. And yeah, looking forward to seeing what'll happen. I mean, I'll get to see the 5 vs 5 effects if we have a dip war and I don't need to remod or anything heavy. I might try these mods and see how they fare in TW. But let's see, what else? Pirates. Any other key relics? No, nothing that I think I'm worried about for Grand Arena. I will have one in the tank in time for Maz Kanata to have her straight up to Relic 9. I want to say that's all. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Sped her up, right? She was around 267. There's still a bit of calibrating I might do yet with these mods, but I wanted to have her over 100,000 health. Ideally, up over 300 speed. Probably can get her closer to 310 at the end of the road. And over 11,000 offense was a mark I was trying to keep. So nothing's final, but this is where I'm kind of going for this first week. And that is actually about it. TJ, how about your preparations? I know you were just focused all about this phone game while you were on your cruise.
100%, man. Yeah, I checked in. I forgot that it actually existed, except for payouts.
Mhm.
I'm actually doing the modding as we speak, so I'm looking at my hot utils running on. And I was telling on 2 different devices to see which one can get first because I've done just a number of setups. Obviously, running basically a blank slate for what I'm gonna do for the pirate team. Um, since I don't know what the right comp is gonna be, I get to mod them all, and then we'll kind of make adjustments as I go from there. So, just setting it up. I didn't get to be here to hear the pitch for defense, but I'm sure it makes perfect sense why, because it's not something that's going to be readily available on the stats, and since you're living in bulk anyway, I can see why. Also, it's fatal, so
Yeah, Fatal,
fatal.
feel free to answer for your thought there.
I don't. You don't even have to, dude. It's like if you say
No, the people
fatal,
will
you
want
automatically
to. People will want to know. That's fair. You
I'll hear
weren't the
I'll
only one
hear
who
him out.
probably missed his last note about
But it makes sense why he's saying it because this
Yeah.
is one where defense is not readily available in the bulky stat. So I know we talk about it a lot when it's not there. Try to add it in to have that step up. So it makes perfect sense to me. I'm just trying to give myself a base layer, and we've talked about it before. So I'm running. I think what I checked off is 170 health and then 610 speed. I just want him blazing. I want my Pirate King just to be monstrous and just to be going a million times while you're trying to catch up to him. That's my thought. From there, because then if I'm that high, my assumption is I get to bring him down and start messing with the stats as I see things that might offset. Other than that, I think we've talked about Vane because there's some of the things in there. We've talked about Jude Law and what he might bring to it. And obviously, I think everybody's living in the world of OG Hondo with Pirate King is going to be a moneymaker as well. So just keeping them ready. But other than that, I told you and I told the folks I have my 340 speed or roughly 340 speed Jawa engineer, just because that Kron with all that bilk in it, he's just going to take a million turns just feeding my guys and then big bombs and big blowups. So I like that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Other relics, I will say I took, and I know we made a pact for it, Task, because I know you were feeling it too. I have my OG Bad Batch, so because we talked my Relic 5, so I have her pinned. Omega. I have OG Omega pinned so that she'll once Maz is all done, I'm gonna take her to Relic 9 in honor of Fatal and all his greatness that he's done for when we get into 5. So other than that, it's just been removing stuff and then a lot of making sure my Inquisitors are still online for when we hit the 3s, making sure that the other pieces work. To your Dre, she's always stayed where yours is at. So she's at 307 speed, plus 100k health, 11k crit, 11k physical with crit damage triangle. So that stays the same.
Yeah, all right.
I will say I have to be a little envious because I know how strong you are with your modding. My SOK only 592 remains around the 150 to 160, but I think 12.7 damage with crit damage triangle. I want to say we're moving at, and then no changes to Ray. So I'll wait to see how strong that's going to be. But other than that, probably 15, 16 changes and still running hot. And I've been running it now for about 5 hours in hot utils, trying to make sure that everything's in line.
Okay, nice. All right, well, over to you, Fatal. What's been cooking this week in terms of your preparations, mods, relics, everything that isn't Datacrons?
I haven't really done a deep dive yet. So the thing I can say for sure is that I have no goddamn clue what I'm going to do this season because my 5v5 approach is very much where my head is at, but increasingly I don't think the math adds up in 3v3 quite the same way, that I might end up playing my old cars, see how the meta feels, and if the water does not feel nice, then maybe I'll try it. Because think of it this way, right? In 5v5, if you ask me, hey, if you pull trade offense, you can gain, you can try to drop a 68 or a 67 on them. Then that's pretty fucking easy, I think, in my opinion. You just drop some other team that tries to ensure a 65 or lower instead, and that's a pretty neat thing to do.
Fair.
In 3v3, you're not like, as far as I'm aware, you're not running like Treya solo. You're probably not running Savage solo either. So, like, the negotiating starts at like, yeah, I mean, I could Treya Savage. Like, I already did that in 5v5. That would probably be easier, but do I want to pull Treya just to try to gain a +1? If the meta is rancid enough, that answer actually probably flips over as a yes at some point. But I think I'm gonna leave it up to my opponents to tell me whether or not that's something I need to be doing, and I don't think I'm gonna do that by default. I think I'm just gonna run my favorite teams on defense, and because I seem to remember, like, my memory of the last few 3v3s is hazy, but I seem to remember that we seemed pretty happy with the meta state the last few seasons, and so I'm kind of content to just let the old default state rock. Knowing I did look at my 3v3 board and saw, like, yeah, pretty much everything was just like set 22 defense crons, and that's gonna take some adaptation. But defense mods on them instead. Use Dark Side Bulk's not insane, but switch to whatever equivalent bulk you can and make do.
Sounds good. For the folks that weren't here last time to not hear your, dissertation on why defense for Hondo, you got the 10-second elevator pitch on it?
Hondo is Galaxy of Heroes' first timeout team in Arena, especially. Like, his job is just to stand there and not die. He's a capable damage dealer, but only really when you're gaining high profit. And like, I would really say like speed Hondo is okay, but you need to react to what the meta's throwing at you. And there are plenty of aggressive strategies right now that are keenly interested in just trying to outright kill you. My Pirate King Hondo with set 24 did extremely good things in 5v5, and I assume will continue to do so here. I plan on in 3v3 running Silvo plus OG Hondo as the sides.
Okay.
The damage dealers just let the two Omicrons run wild.
Now, is that Silvo
In a Silvo
with
9?
Yeah, Silvo 9 or Hondo 9?
Hondo 9.
Hondo 9, yeah.
All
right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Silvo 9 sounds pretty awful to me, unless you're like, if you're using it on offense and you're rushing ult, then it sounds okay, kind of. But Hondo 9, with the two Omicrons on, Hondo 9 is just like absurd. Yeah.
Okay. Appreciate that. Dagger has joined us here from the shadows. So even though we're slightly out of sequence, we're nevertheless on time for where we are in the show. Dagger, how are you? And what type of preparations have you done for this week? Not Datacron wise. Anything with mods, relics, what have you?
Oh. I'll actually have my ship unlocked. This is the first GAC I'll actually get to use the new Rebel ship.
I see. Yeah, all right.
I didn't lock in with it because I wasn't able to log in to do the marquee before lock.
Shameful,
So-
yes.
Oh man. You say shameful, and then you're like, what did you relic? And I'm like, I don't know, Tass. I'm not a pleb. I don't have R8s on my roster.
Damn.
Sorry. No, I just got in and I heard what Fatal was saying, and I do want to try to put my Hondo in defense mods at some point. That requires having defense mods. So
Yeah.
my never-ending quest of updating the mods on this account continues, and I started defense mods as of the 1st of this month. And so I am 1 week in, and I have kept one mod. 6 refreshes every day. I have kept one mod so far this month.
Nice.
It is the
Yeah.
first. It is the first true end game farm that Galaxy of Heroes has ever had. seemingly. You are playing an MMO,
It's so
hoping to
bad.
roll legendaries. It's fucking insane.
So yeah, that's been my week. That's been my off week, is just seeing 54 to 61 mods a day and deleting them all after level 12ing, most of them level 15ing, like a quarter of them, slicing off of those, and then eventually selling pretty much all of them for a loss.
Very nice. Yes, we all enjoy participating in the carnival game, really. That is mod
Honestly,
slicing.
this feels like a sack race Olympics where somebody broke your kneecaps.
Mm-hmm.
Like Fatal said, like you look like, because the defense on these defense sets, in order for them to be like excellent, every stat has to like match. So you're like, oh, this is really cool. This mod is like everything I want. Defense primary. Fuck. Yeah, but
Fair.
we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. Will not lower the standards. Will not lower standards. I think that's my mantra. That's my mantra all week. Will not lower standards.
Good.
While we're on the topic, the base way I would put this as we go through this season, like the criteria to go for is ask yourself, do I need more turns or do I need to weather the pressure? Because right now, I mean, everyone saw the infamous, like, oh, here's a Leia, or here's a Drogon sniping Hondo turn 1 or whatever, right? It's like, whether it's like Bad Batch or CLS or whatever, there's a decent amount out there that's just like trying to gun for the man. And so just treat it as a slider with greed on one side and protecting your neck on the other.
That's what made me get it on this here, because I'm usually not an early adopter of something like this. I like to see how it goes. But yeah, I'm convinced. Not going to be me. You're not going to burst my shit.
Oh, not on this team specifically, but just remember that in 3v3, speed matters a whole heck of a lot more generally than it does in 5v5, because your characters will get more turns.
It does, but I'm not like my Hondo is like 575, right? Like,
well, that's why I said not this team. That's why I specifically said not this team specifically, but when it comes to speeding teams up, this is the time to do it. Slow them down for 5, speed them up for 3s. So when you're building mods for this team, because I assume you're putting the whole team in defense mods, are you like what are you focusing on for the individual characters, secondary and primary wise?
Secondary is. Oh, sorry, was that?
Yeah, that was directed towards you, Fatal. My apologies. I didn't specifically say it.
For me, sets and secondaries are for sure on defense. It's really just the number one question right now is protection versus health, because like on the one hand you have Leia and Seer Malicos who pressure you on health pool, and the protection is more towards, I mean, CLS you're probably not going to see in 3v3, but like Jabba is a team that's been tested fairly often. OG Hondo regenerates a lot of protection as well. And he does gain protection up on assist, but he has to get the buff to get it. That I'm still kind of just like, it would just be a safer bet to lean in on the natural inherent protection. Basically, the whole entire gamble that I'm staking everything on is, I think as long as Silvo and Hondo stay alive, they will make your life pretty hellish. And so their job is just to continue to run that scam on you, right? The more time that we get value out of the Hondo 9, the insane Silvo Omicron TM engine with OG Hondo, having to deal with captive, having to deal with cooldown increases, and the team is honestly like pretty dang serviceable on damage once they get rolling. That the bet that I'm staking here is we just need to buy time and chill. And so to that degree, that's defense is definitely the answer. It's just a question of like, what am I more afraid of when I lock in, I guess. Whether it's health primaries or protection primaries. Or honestly, you kind of just want both, but it's about managing ratio versus health ignoring.
Unrelated to 3v3 specifically, I've been really enjoying Tenacity on Vayne, and I feel like you'd have to do a lot to convince me to swap to defense on him. Not for any other reason besides I don't feel like I care about him taking some big hits. Just because of his kit. I'm not saying you have to sell me on that, but what are your thoughts on like he feels like he has the most flexibility in that sense, whereas like I definitely want to put like Brutus into like a defense set, and I probably will end up putting both Hondos in full defense sets for this season if I get the mods. But what are your thoughts specifically on Vayne?
So Tenacity Vayne is something that I definitely think we'll all probably end up having to use some point in the future. Specifically, I think for the current meta, most teams are trying to go fast enough that I don't think he needs it, because basically the idea is you have the 2-turn lock taunt, and then past that point, you need to be able to regain taunt to be able to access the equalize. And I only really start to care about Tenacity if we're having conversations about the taunt dropping. And right now, like, yeah, I feel like a lot of fights are just kind of trying to Rolocron you to death or Wapacron one-shot you or something like that. That, I'm building my Vayne to be slow, and as long as he's able to get that lock taunt, I feel
no, that's fair.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, was just curious because I Stats linked me to his, and I saw the defense mods on his, and
here's the fuck up thing about Vayne. Here's why Vayne is insanely flexible. So if we believe the 90 defense cap is true, which as far as I can tell, I think it is. Again, you kind of can't go wrong with Vayne. It's more just about trying to stake a bet of how fast or slow you think the fight will be. If the 90 cap is real, the moment that Pirate King Hondo takes his second turn, your Vayne is pretty much defense capped until he takes a turn, which is also where I think slow Hondo can kind of come in. Or slow Vayne. Yeah, the thing about the 90 defense cap, though, is you kind of have to assume that you get those turns to cash that in. And so I think my default Vayne modding for now is actually going to be defense sets with protection primaries, just because certain strategies are going to be so fast and aggressive that, like, I don't think we necessarily get to stack our health. His base protection is just way, way, way higher. Right, you get almost double the bulk off of a protection primary than health until you start to stack. But we're kind of in the exact same scenario with the Datacron right now. That level 6, the long tech 6, it's pretty good. You need to take turns and you need to cash out profit to actually, cash it in. And that is pretty fast right now. You might end up needing to wish to prefer that you had the 75% DR instead, right? It's a lot of moving parts. That's up in the air. I'm not trying to overcomplicate shit. That's just where my head's at. That
every time you say the meta's too fast or the meta's pretty fast, this is like a reference that maybe some of you will get. I just keep thinking, oh man, is Red Deck Wins good again? Because this means I don't have to think. That's a Magic the Gathering reference for people who don't really get it. But yeah, sorry. Whenever you say that, that's my first thought, man.
But dude, when I read Hondo Kit and then when I read B-Wing Kit, my reaction to both of those is like, oh, this is the first aggro deck that they've added to Galaxy of Heroes.
Yeah.
Hondo on offense is literally, I'm taking 11 turns and a double mass assist. Fuck you. And also, right? It's like,
yeah.
And the B-Wing's the exact same. Boom. Turn 0, master plan, fucking, we're going all in. If we can't win this, then we still kind of suck.
Yeah. Oh no, we suck again. Yeah. Red Deck for sure. I thought Ahsoka when she first came out was really good. Like when you use her on offense, you have a ton of burst damage. You can kill multiple sides right off the rip. And then Hondo's hold my beer for how many people are dead before they get to move, which is just absolutely hilarious. Because I took this against the Datacron, and yeah, it turns out only you have to take turns.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Anyway, sorry. I digress.
I said my piece. I did my ramble rant.
Yeah. Hondo good. He hurt. Man, here's a throwback for anybody who watches football. Sasha might get this. Remember Rod Smart, Sasha?
Yeah.
Yeah. He hate me?
Yeah.
Start calling Hondo he hurt me. Start calling Hondo he hurt me. Sorry.
You hate me. God. Yeah. Nice throwback.
Yeah.
Really, I think what this season is going to get boiled down to is whatever you choose to counter Hondo with. We saw this in 5v5 kind of with Great Mothers. The ability to Omicron put somebody in handcuffs, and I'm not going to pretend that Hondo going with a TM plus double mass assist wouldn't have been nice, but you still have to hold that as an attacker into Hondo, his turn 1 cooldown increase plus handcuff. That is a level of variance that I don't think we've ever seen in a GL counter before. Most GLs tend to be pretty nice to you turn 1, or SLK poke was the rudest thing that could happen to you. And this team is scammy. The thematic flavor on it's actually pretty well done. I'm just yeah, dude, I don't want to have to hold that, but we're all going to have to. So figuring out whether it's a layer or something like that, but again, does your Drogon get put in handcuffs or something like that? It's sleazy.
Fair.
So I can't speak for you because you've probably done more tests. I can't speak for this too much. I haven't done a ton of testing, but it doesn't feel like Hondo ever targets a GL, baby Hondo. So is he hard coded to pick a side?
As far as I'm aware, it's probably just weakest targeting, but that's extreme grain of salt that I haven't actually looked.
Fair enough. Yeah, in 3v3, just taking in your GL and just getting essentially guaranteed getting one of your sides like Giga locked just feels miserable.
All right, guys, let's move into talking about the new Datacron set. Set 24, Whispers of Wealth, priorities for going into week 1. I did want the Radiscron. It definitely has the most transformative kit going on. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty flexible stat-wise. I could think of a number of places I might put it. Don't think I'm going to be setting it with like Radis on defense. So, I don't know. Want to make sure I had that one. And of course, Trench. Took it all the way. Probably going to try Trench, Dooku, Watt. I don't know. I'll think about this because Newt's kind of tempting here. The turn meter can be a pain in the ass with the number of turns he'll end up taking. Anyway, yes, I did get the Jawa one up. The stats, it's tough to go wrong with the stat profile of this, whether or not I end up actually setting the team. So, rare stat orientation. And then, yeah, I'm not really convinced. This is fairly low priority. If I end up finishing it, I don't think I'll be worried about it within this next week. I'll get it by the end of the conquest run for it, the second conquest. As far as regular crowns from this set, I had the Brutus for the last week of 5s. It's okay. It's an okay. The stats are kind of all over the place. It's a bit of a mess. Did pick up an FOSF cron, so got that going for us. This was, I can't tell you how many crons I had to roll through. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 level 9 first order crons, so that would make this one at least the 5th to come up FOSF. Picked up this Ahsoka cron's kind of mediocre, but I just have it in case I'm asked. Mostly for the guild, I think. And then, yeah, this Ray cron is bulked out. Only one roll actually isn't health as far as stats go. Kind of hilarious there. Hondo, see, I have this one. It's mostly crit damage with about 115% armor penetration on it. The major beneficiary of armor penetration on the team is Brutus. And yes, he does stack defense penetration, but giving him a pretty solid mark from battle start and then going out from there. I've play tested that a bit in Squad Arena and seen the difference between my other Hondo Crown, which is like almost entirely crit damage, no armor penetration. I'm seeing their Brutus do more damage because they've got about 100%ish or so. And I'm talking about later in the fight when you're expecting him to start taking out people one shot. Theirs with the armor penetration was doing more damage than mine, which is pure crit damage. I was looking for that. Yeah, I mean, as far as Slacker Crons, I kind of have my pick. I think I did want to have a double damage. I have a long text. I want to say, here's a double damage with buffs level 3 instead of bulk. And yeah, I guess one of these I got to re-roll for tomorrow. Really? I had one, at least one. Boy, that's not good. Okay, glad I'm looking now. And then, yeah, that's about it. So it was a pretty busy week here. But how about, we'll resume the normal order here now that you're back with us, Dagger. Your set 24 Datacrons. What you been cooking?
I'll start off with it's interesting that you said that you found armor pen better on the Hondo Crown. Because
in all cases, I was using a Hondo level 9. Yeah, it's just I have two of them. One that's almost entirely crit damage, and then the one that you saw that's got about 115% armor penetration on it. I just got that armor penetration one not long before we started here. I'm talking about fighting another Pirate King in Squad Arena, and his has 100-ish armor penetration. His Brutus was doing more meaningful damage later in the fight than mine was. and mine is straight up like more offense. You know.
Yeah, and I've actually done the same thing, but came to the opposite conclusion because my opponent was doing more damage with crit damage than I was doing with my 150% armor pen to the point where I rolled off armor pen for protection because I didn't
Okay.
feel like it was doing anything for me. So I was
Interesting.
just curious to that because I had an opposite experience. Not saying that we can't each have opposite
Well,
experiences.
it's just
Maybe the
the
person
only
you were playing against.
beneficiary is Brutus, right? I mean, otherwise the crit damage is surely better for the team overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I was just curious about that. Like armor pen is actually like not great for Hondo. He does special damage, but crit damage is almost. Anyways, but I digress. No, I did pick up a Hondocron. I'm probably gonna try to make a new one because I had to roll off some of the bad stats and ended up like with just kind of a mishmash of stats. The rest of this amounts to, hey guys, I have some crons because I've been on vacation, which is where I'm joining you guys from.
Mm-hmm.
So I have, what is this? 24 Datacrons and like 15 of them, 16 of them are level 3.
Fair.
So I did the whole build a bunch of level 3s and then didn't actually end up really building them further. I did build just a generic Ray level 9 and a generic First Order TIE Pilot level 9. They will not, I will probably just end up using them as Statcrons or scrap them because they're bad, but having them for week 1 is better than not having them for week 1. As far as focus Datacrons, why the fuck can't they be purple? Why
Yeah.
are they green?
It's annoying. It is annoying.
Yeah.
Fair point.
But yeah, working on the trench one, finished the Jawa one and the Adrad one because they're both just like really stats on Jawa. Adrad Cron mechanically is pretty good. Stats are nothing really to write home about overall, but in 5v5, this Cron is hopefully going to be a menace with this team. In 3v3, hopefully I can make some use out of it. It has Jin mechanics and Adrad mechanics. And the Trench Cron I'm building for TW, I don't know how good the stat profile is because it's again just kind of a mess of just you wanted like a little bit of every stat. Here's a little bit of every stat kind of thing. In 3v3, I was thinking more of using this with like Newt and B1 and Django more than Trench on offense because I think that team is better on offense than pretty much any version of the Trench team will be on defense. But I could see trying to post this.
Yeah,
I just don't feel like it adds enough. Yeah, I just don't feel like it adds enough like of a deterrent, if you will. Like if this had like 100 defense or 150 defense, maybe we'd have a conversation. But I think it's gonna what does end up 30% defense?
Well, let's be real.
Something like
When we're
that.
talking about like if we're gonna get by on the cheap, you're saying that if you saw any permutation of trench +2 with the trench cron, you're still thinking with your CLS, I got this.
No, I mean I've used Iden against like Prince Cron before.
Okay. Okay.
Like I'm
So it
thinking
wouldn't
like this
deter
team
you,
just
yeah.
like that's what I'm saying. Like the stats don't deter me. The thing that would deter me in past metas, the thing that deterred me was Django having massive offense or just a prohibitive amount of defense. I think Sasha mentioned that a while back too. Like this team just benefits so much from a prohibitive amount of defense because they're so squishy. And I just feel like none of the stats here are like super like, oh man, I don't want to attack this because of X, Y, and Z. Especially with the Eigenkron being in the same set.
Okay. Fair.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to. Made sure I got like the a couple level 9s. I'm still in the boonies down here in the 300s starting this first week, so I got a week to play with essentially, hopefully.
Okay. Good stuff. TJ, how about you? Your set 24 preparations.
We already talked about it. I was talking with Sasha. We'll just call it lack thereof. I'll have the FDCs all set on it. Was talking with Sasha, who is a much bigger spirited DC guy, but I think I live in the world of Dagger. Not we both are like our times of vacations are off. But that whole week for the first week with the no additional time spent that they give you, you know, that whole wheel and here you go spend this. And since I didn't have any of that, I was just playing where I could. I think I'm with you, Dagger, with like I've got one level 9, and that's just the Brutus because I wanted. So it's got the bulk, it's got that. Other than that, I'm gonna just bulk everything in the last minute. Just go in, hopefully have some kind of first order. 5 to 6 bulks is the hope. Other than that, it's just a whole bunch of level 3s that are mismatched. There ain't nothing there, and it'll probably be that week this way for this week. So
All right. Appreciate it. On to you, Sasha. Your set 24 Datacrons. What was priority?
Sure. So, typically, I do go pretty wide and pretty aggressively on DCs. I've done a little less of both of those, I would say, this season than usual. I think I'm a little less inspired by what I saw from the set. I just to be clear, I don't necessarily mean that's bad for the game. I just mean that I think these are probably a little less determinative than some of the other sets, and that may translate into a really cool meta. But I did prioritize 3 of the 4 focus DCs. I got Radis, Trench, and Jawa. Jawa was the one that I prioritized most, but it was really just because of the statistics being on the really impactful side. I hope to get Iden as well squared away, although I don't know that I'll necessarily use it. And then the challenge that I ran into in looking at this set is that one of the kind of just versatile high utility like profiles of Datacron I wanted from the set was just like a dark side thick and then some decent stats. And I figured, all right, let's just do that and give myself options off of it. I rolled 36 Datacrons to level 3. Or sorry, 30 Datacrons to level 3. 26 of those 30 were light side. And I just couldn't get dark side crons for some reason. And I have slowly but surely gotten a few extra, but it's nowhere near what where I would love to be going into 3v3, where it really draws on Datacron depth right out of the gate. But I prioritize getting a special forces cron. I just think I may have some defensive viability, but I think it's going to be a pretty nice light side hack to have. I got a Ray cron. I would love to, back to the comment I was saying, still just I don't know that at least going into week 1 you can have too many dark side thick. I wish I had more of those. I also have not set up this is one of those opportunistically I'd love to acquire them as I roll stuff out, is maybe get one that just stacks a bunch of tenacity rolls. And while I didn't go into it thinking I want tenacity, but out of 30 Datacrons, I love having 1 or 2 that are just tenacity heavy, maybe 1 at least potency heavy, and I haven't had that yet either. So, it's a big work in progress for me, and kind of tying back into a little bit of the earlier segment of relics and investment. One of the few things that I did in terms of relics in the last week was just the acknowledgement that relic Delta's coming, and any characters that I use pretty regularly across GAC or TW that wasn't Relic 8 for me yet. I started moving up, and one that I particularly prioritized was OG Kylo, just because I don't know. I don't know that I'll use it, but I could see in TW having some appeal of having the his level 9 and assisting, not because of damage, but because he does healing immunity on his basic. I liked that as marginal but potentially useful, and so I took him up there. And then I also did take K2 up. I said originally, I was talking to a friend about it, that I was taking K2 up because, wow, look, he's on the Radis Datacron. Honest answer, I just love the friggin' character, man. Rogue One I loved,
Fair.
K2 SO, just a character I loved. So I've been looking for any excuse to take him up to Relic 9. So I did that, and I don't know, I may end up setting it. If I get you first round task, then maybe I set it bottom front, because I just want to see it in action. It'd be kind of fun to see.
Fair.
But yeah, so that's where I am.
Good stuff. All right, Fatal. How about you? Set 24 Datacrons. I know you're usually tinkering a lot more with mods than Datacrons, but what made the cut? What was priority this week?
I wouldn't necessarily say that, although it's rather true for this week. Yeah, this is, I guess, an unfortunate casualty of what will, I believe, is a upcoming topic. But I've been dedicating a lot of time towards trying to help assist with this whole Relic Delta thing. That this is the first time that a new set has dropped that I have not pounded the pavement on Conquest and gone extremely hard. I actually only just reached Sector 4 a night or two ago. So, yeah, it's not ideal for week 1, but I'm still, hitting it very aggressively now. I'll be more than fine for week 1 with the stuff I've gotten, and should be a full collection by week 2, if nothing else. Yeah, I don't know. I land pretty much where Sasha does. That like the level 3s look good to me, and the bulk stats look good to me, and that's kind of all I really tend to care about. I will say I do. The more that I look at Datacron, I'm kind of gaslighting myself into thinking that it actually sounds pretty solid, and like I actually might just be interested. I've had an R9K2 for I think ever since like close to after Leia came out, and so I would have to stare at Insight for a minute to remember what people typically used against Adrad, because I've stopped posting it ever since Bounty Hunters kind of got drilled down with Dadbud like years ago. But I mean, Akbar cannot be defeated. Not fucking Akbar. This is the second time I did it. Radis cannot be defeated. That would apply to like Annihilate and Snipe, right? I'm so like instant defeat immunity pilled these days.
Can't be defeated.
I don't think so. I'm not sure, but I think that's the same. I'm trying to think the comparison point.
I think it would. Admiral Radis can't be defeated while K2SO is active. Now, I'd have to look at it, but I would think that instantly defeated is a subset of defeated.
Yeah,
it's the same as the FOTP cron or like the Dre cron, things like that. You just can't. They just can't die.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, sure. Darker probably has the same text. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. If you just build a slab of a K2 and try to make him a real son of a bitch, that at least sounds vaguely annoying.
Yep.
Another candidate for full defense, is it? All prop primaries?
K2 I historically is that, or I almost said associate more with tenacity, just because he has to counterattack in order to keep taunting. And so whether it's the debuffing equals 50% less counter chance or just trying to ensure that he keeps countering, that's usually how I associate him, but he kind of just trends more towards like, if you think of like your archetypical Marin mods where you're just like, yeah, a bunch of tenacity, a bunch of defense, a bunch of protection. Technically though, you wouldn't necessarily hate speed because he retaunts when he takes a turn either. So, it doesn't have to be like a Marin speedless exactly, but yeah, just somewhere in that ballpark. I mean, I'm sure whether you go tenacity or just sheer defense depends on what your opponent seems to be using, but like, I don't know, I guess like Bounty Hunters I don't think will beat Datacron, period. I would have to double check K2's stats, but actually maybe we have to care about his potency because I'm sure the 50% TM removal comes from him.
All right.
Let me see if I can pull that up real quick.
Oh, and yeah, the last time that we used K2 in a meta-ish way, in like DW or what have you, he was tenacity built. Because I have mine tenacity built, and that'd be the only reason why.
Yeah, I don't
he's
see
47% potency. Yeah, he's 47% potency, 51% tenacity. So again, I guess kind of depending on what you expect to get used, maybe you want to boost that potency a little bit just to try to cash out the effects.
Fair.
Yeah, right. I mean, the whole thing kind of rides or dies on whether or not he lives, but that also, I think Treya's main predators are like Bounty Hunters and Treya. So you build all the defense you want, but that Treya's going to still come regardless. That I don't know, maybe just like a faster, more proactive K2 might be fun and interesting, but then again, like the debuffs aren't going to help you against Treya. It would more so just be the TM removal, I guess. But he's going to get isolated, so I don't know.
I was going to say, yeah.
Maybe that team is just there to eat Treya, and maybe that's enough. I'll see if I can like weasel anything else out of them.
Yeah, you can punish that for sure. I want to believe Gungans will have their time again on defense, particularly in 3 versus 3. See?
If it wasn't with Stungans, I don't know when.
Yeah, I know.
And to be honest, the problem is, I like Stungans. I think sounded like pretty fun on defense actually, but I couldn't cut them off of offense. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
this
they
team
were too
prints
good.
65s and has
Yeah,
like
they were so high value.
yeah,
True.
very good at 65. Actually, pretty surprisingly good at undersize, especially with Darpulscron. You just
Mm-hmm.
cut Bobadier and cut the Phalanx, and you're just chilling because you're rolling out AoEs anyway. Like,
It's that crown. All right, guys. Appreciate you here.
Oh, I just wanted to make one more comment to what Sasha said,
Please.
and I'm only making this comment because someone has now, gone to bed. But when you're talking about the dark side bulk thing and not being able to roll any dark side crons, the first thing that popped into my head is One Direction taught us that that's the story of my life. And that reference has nothing to do with the fact that she was the DJ. She's been the DJ all weekend. That being said, now that I got that out of the way, now that we're down to 4 of them, it makes sense because there's only 4 directions.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Sorry.
Got that out of your system?
Yeah, I needed that.
Proud of yourself?
No, but I needed it. Catharsis. I needed it.
All right.
She won't listen to this anyway, so it doesn't matter.
It's time. It's time, guys. We haven't talked about it yet, and we said we cover it here in the preview episode. It's time to talk about the Relic Delta and the coming of Relic 10. So, if you have otherwise been under a rock, a couple weeks back, CG came out with a surprise announcement that there's this new system called Relic Delta that they're going to be creating a test program for. And for the first time in years, they're going to be involving select content creators to be part of the early feedback. They want to land this new system just right. And the basic premise behind it is that there's going to be a modifier applied between any 2 characters that are interacting. And depending on how many relics are, let's say one's relic 5 and one's relic 9, there's 4 relics of difference between them. Depending on the amount of relics different between them, there is an increasing modifier, making it tougher for the lower relic character to get the job done. The final implementation of what that looks like in terms of damage reduction for somebody or damage done by somebody is being continuously adjusted. They released this first post, and there was a lot of questions, frankly. And within days after that, they came out with a dev fireside chat post, which was really insightful. And again, applause to CG for putting that out, because really appreciate them taking the risk on the community, working with the community again, working with content creators to try and make sure that this feature lands just right. And then for this fireside chat thing, it's them really showing their cards about, whatever your opinions are about the future of Relic Delta, Relic 10, they show you that this has been something they've been thinking about for quite some time. They considered other alternatives. They showed you what they consider the design problems to be that they want to address, and why they ultimately went with this solution. Now, Fatal is the only member of our show here that is on the test program, and I mean, I'm eager to get what the rest of the panel thinks, but as the only one who's directly got your hands in the guts of the test program, what do you have to say about it? High level, your experiences most recently, what you think, how do you feel this is going? I know it might be a little premature to ask how you think it all ends, but how's your feeling on it so far? You warm, you cold?
Yeah, so before I say anything, I guess I'll lead it off by saying that everything is still very much a moving target. I know from the outside it's very easy to cynically assume it's not, but pretty much every part of the experience. I mean, literally, as we're recording the show, I'm exchanging messages regarding certain test results and what they may mean. it's very much a moving target. So like, yeah, I guess to kind of try to answer all of your questions at once. When this whole thing kicked off, my personal feeling on the matter was it felt like there was just way too much heat surrounding it that I didn't really feel like it was worth it to be done. But increasingly seems like it's something that's going to be happening, and so it was really just like, okay, it's on the testers to like try to bring this thing home in a way that's going to be the least destructive. Because I did think that like at its core, there's a fair amount of people in the community who are like hardline, this cannot exist in the game in any capacity. And while I understand that reaction emotionally is like, you know, the fundamental idea of what it seems to imply just kind of feels shitty. When you actually abstract what it's doing, it's not actually doing things that much different than what we are already used to seeing.
Yeah,
right?
let me ask you something in simple terms, and you can tell me how much, you know, how accurate or not accurate the statement is. It feels like they're wanting to encourage players to get more into the end game, to progress into Relics 8, 9, and then now 10. They're wanting to raise that functional floor at which you interact with the end game. They want to see less, if any, Relic 5 versus Relic 9. They want that floor to move from 5 up to 7. But according to that fireside chat, they said that they're going to be introducing new events and additional resources to help bridge just that specific gap, right? For like the 5 to 7 gap. So even if, you know, we're talking about players that are, there's no form of this that's acceptable coming live to the game. It's literally forcing me to spend resources that I don't have on characters I wasn't planning to spend them on. It's crippling my game experience. And to that, I would say, if they're giving you those resources to bridge the gap from 5 to 7, where's the rub? So, how do you feel about that statement, or, you know, blah blah blah? As long as that was.
The thing I want to make clear is this is not a PTR, PBE, whatever you want to call it, in the traditional sense that you might be used to in other games. It's not like we are seeing the new mode and seeing the economy changes all at once. We're actually technically behind what's currently live. We're on like a 2, 3, whatever week old build. Like, I don't think Rogue One or B-Wing or any of that like exist in the game client yet. So like, I can't speak to whatever the big picture is going to be. But yeah, when I say that this is a moving target, like really, if I'm being transparent about it, I think the thing that is kind of in question here is Relic Delta 3. That has been my focus from the very start, because when I look at this whole thing, I do imagine that, like, you know, R5 beating R9 seemed to kind of just be what was in the sites. And right. So the question to me was like, you know, whether we're talking about Relic 6 versus 9, or now knowing that Relic 10 is in the conversation, possibly Relic 7 versus 10, 3 to me is kind of the crux of the issue here, which is why I have very specifically been laser drilled on testing Relic Delta 3.
So to be clear, your position here is that for most players in most circumstances, you anticipate an average Relic Delta of 3, and so that's where your focus has been?
Not necessarily that I anticipate that to be the average, but I think if Relic Delta is going to land in a healthy position, I think Relic Delta 3 needs to be viable.
Okay.
If we're talking triage of like what CG is setting out to hope to do or prevent or discourage, Relic Delta 4 seems a lot harder to negotiate for, just on fundamental principle. And 3, you know, like, easiest example, Bo-Katan, the average team right now, ranges around Relic 7. And so what happens when you have a Relic 7 Bo-Katan squad, and they run into, well, I guess in this case it would be Relic 10, which, again, we are not playing on a future build of the game. I have no goddamn clue what Relic 10 is going to look like. You know, the planner gremlin part of me wanted to pretend that, like, okay, well, what if it's just another Relic 9? And for once, other people were I usually try to be the reasonable voice on this stuff, but I had to have other people be like, "No, we don't know what it is. This is just a waste of time. Just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop." But yeah, right. It's like if we just loosely assume, okay, well, if Relic 10 is just like Relic 9 too, because I think that's usually how it goes, right? Is like 5 and 6 kind of go together, 7 and 8 kind of go together, 9 and 10 might kind of just, it might just be more of the same type situation.
See?
What's that going to look like for like the average Bo-Katan against their average Lord Vader? And so yeah, right now I think the best way I can give you an idea of what playing with Relic Delta is like is it's Galaxy of Heroes as you already know it, but only more so. With the current number tuning, I'm not necessarily talking about Relic Delta 4 or 5. But with 3, again, 3 being my focus, think about playing a counter that you already know, but you are more intensely checked on damage for, like, if we're talking about, like, Bo-Katan versus Lord Vader, it's like, okay, Oppo's gonna make you sweat a little bit harder. You are more keenly aware of, like, oh shit, I need to hit these timings of, like, okay, healing immunity's down on this character. I'm really thinking about, like, when am I timing my BAM cleanse? When am I hitting my IG-12 cleanse? Whereas, like, I know BKM versus LV is droppable right now, but I feel like once you kind of know the do's and don'ts, you can kind of just mash that matchup out, right? Like, that's more or less as long as you're not like, whoops, I did BAM birds into 4 basics and I have, like, 9. Was like birds type beat, right? Like, as long as they're hitting the broad beats, you can kind of just mash that thing out. And for me, with Delta 3 right now playing in build, it's R6 versus R9. But, you know, just trying to get the idea of what 3 gap would or will feel like for the current numbers.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. Like, making sure that your team doesn't die is step number 1. But then making sure that you actually have the kill power is step number 2. And so really a lot of the conversation and discussion right now is trying to get a sense for what CG's goals are with Delta 3, because, again, I think that's kind of the one that's most at stake. Like, if you're 1 or 2 below, I don't think they're hoping for there to be that much added friction. I think 3 is where there's most potential room for harm, but also I think if it's done well, I do think it can exist in the game where it still creates texture, is the word that I keep on coming back to, is like, you know, if it can just add another variable that you have to think about. And, like, that can go into your planning is like, you know, like traditional classical BKM versus LV, you could probably just have it on Relic 5 OG Bow forever. And, like, as long as she's built to not die, I don't know. She's probably chilling, right? She's just mostly there for her unique. Maybe occasionally you throw out an AoE. It's fine. That's a factor now. And, like, whether or not it's just CG trying to say that, like, yeah, certain stat stick or unique stick characters like OG Bow now have a reason to invest. Or if you're specifically intent on not investing, then you have to protect yourself via other ways, whether it's good defense modding or cover with the Datacron or whatever else be it. It's something that you're going to have to think about. And I don't think that's necessarily bad. Where it becomes bad, I think, is cartoonishly large numbers. And so that has been my number 1 focus on the playtest.
Okay.
It is the numbers and trying to advocate for them to land in healthy ranges.
Can I ask you something, Fatal?
Mhm.
You've been in this. You've been active. You've been active in the community talking about bugs. You've been in for years, right? You've talked about it, things you knew about, things you looked at. In your opinion, to date, do you feel like the people that you're working with are hearing what you have to say and trying to take your feedback? Not the this is doomed. I'm actually saying you're listening to this Relic Delta 3. Do you feel like the devs are listening to you, the people that you're working with?
This is no bullshit. This is no glaze. I have no idea if it's CG play or ever hear this. CG has actually been the easiest to work with in all this. They've been, like, very transparent and straightforward, and, like, if there were any understandings at some point, I could clarify, and they would be like, "Oh, okay, we're bringing this back up," or, like, reopening this, and they've been, like, pretty open. Honestly, the hardest part of this has been talking to the community about it, because my experience working with CG so far has been they seem to pretty transparently be working in good faith here. Like I think they are to some degree wary or nervous about this as well. And then anytime that I try to go talk about it publicly, I am like, you know, I understand that I have the privilege of like talking to them privately, and I can't expect people to know what that's like. But the CG that I'm working with is very down to earth and very human. And then talking to the public about it, people are imagining the worst.
This is why I keep
twirling.
This is why I
thing.
keep fighting on this, and that's why I keep dying on this hill. And I'll go to, because I know you're asking about it. And it's not to jump over Fatal. It's this. Almost 10 years, you guys, people who worked in the programs like that, who were in the programs we couldn't know. What they were doing, we couldn't know. They were DAG clause. You had NDAs. And now it's freely, come talk to me. You know, they funnel their data into people trying to get constructive, and they want to hear what you have to say. And that's what it feels like. And I'll go to why I said that. But I appreciate you telling me, for the fact that, Fatal, you can tell me. And that's where I'm really, it's getting old, where people aren't even giving the opportunity to allow this to try something, to allow it to fail. It's very frustrating beyond all things, because, Fatal, I can ask you that simple question, and you can give a no bullshit response.
Well, no. I'll just say, the player base are a bunch of as a whole, not the competitive ones per se, but if you go on Reddit or Facebook or like events, Discord servers like that, the most entitled, whiny little bitches, like maybe on the planet. It is really obnoxious to try to interact with anyone, because every time, like, and when I talk about this Relic Delta, they're like, "Oh, you're probably one of them whales." It's like, well, even if I wasn't one of the whales, I would still hold the same opinion, because I didn't. TJ, you know this. I didn't used to have everything maxed. I used to be one of the have-nots, and I was still like, Relic 8 would come out, Relic 9 would come out, like, oh my god, another hill I have to climb. But I still did it.
To be clear, if anything, and again, feel free to correct me if I have a misunderstanding of this. This is going to be pushing up, whether they like it or not. I guess some of them are going to get dragged kicking and screaming. But if we're going to have more people dragged up to the Relic 7 floor level, that means that there's going to be more players potentially to fight, which is good for me. Otherwise, for those of us who are whales, who have generally, Relic 8, Relic 9 accounts, we're expecting to see little to no difference, right? So anybody who's making a serious case that, the whales are rubbing their hands together and saying, finally, payday's coming home. It's like, I'm expecting exactly nothing from this.
No.
Look, the only people I feel bad for in this whole thing are the people that are 5 to 8 million sitting in a rhodium having to fight the 12 to 14 million accounts who don't try. Because now they might not be able to clear a zone. And then the other guy's like, oh, they couldn't clear a zone. Haha, I guess I'll just sit on them and clear a zone. Mm-hmm. But then you still have that group of people, which will probably migrate to about the same place in GAC, and it'll be bad for like a few months for those people, but it'll probably work itself out.
Yeah. All right.
Not that I hope.
Well, go ahead.
I know that I appreciate the rest of you guys being patient while I was I was asking Fatal, and then Fatal was responding at length.
Sorry.
No, I want to open the floor to you guys to ask Fatal all your questions and give your thoughts about Relic Delta and Relic 10. But before I do that, just a real quick directional statement from you, Fatal. Overall, I know somebody might say, oh, whatever you say, Fatal, you have an incentive to make it feel like it's going to work because you're involved. But, I think you've been pretty candid, and I think people who have been watching you long enough know that, you're just going to say how it's going, really. It's not really going to get lipstick on it. That being said, as a directional statement right now, are you warm to where we're headed with Relic Delta, Relic 10? Are you cold on it? Are you cooling? Are you warming? How do you feel?
This is a extremely awkward question to answer right now, because there is a question that is extremely up in the air and
you can predicate it on that
in the next 24 hours. So literally, I might have a better question. I popped a big post and a big question on them this afternoon that is sort of being processed. So when I give an answer like that, that is not a dodge. That is like,
no. And that's why I was trying to keep it as vague as a directional statement, because all of this, and folks at home watching this, this is as Fatal said at the start of his answer. This is a moving target, and CG's been clear. I think we're on our third round of numbers that the testers are testing. Is that correct, Fatal?
Yeah, and the current test is regarding 1 and 2, but kind of as I said, my focus is on 3, right? I think for the health of the game, 3 needs to land in a spot that is healthy and not too oppressive, and so technically I still need to do my 1 to 2 testing, but yeah, I did an extra round of work on 3 just to make a certain point and see what they said, and they were receptive to it. So yeah, we'll see where it goes from there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
look, man, I see the post. I am online. I see that shit. I see people who think that this is just like a pony show, just like, oh, look how much work we're doing before we land on numbers, and like, I don't know, man. They're putting an awful lot of effort into this if it's a scam. So
no, it makes sense. Like, I think anybody who's saying that they've already got this pre-decided and this is just some show, there's no way. There's way too much effort that goes into this from their end, and frankly, risk. Like, after the last time they closed up the Game Changers, I didn't really see them opening it again. Like, why would you? The risks would be the same. And the answer for them is this feature, if it doesn't land right, could be devastating, if not fatal, for the game. And they feel that it's so important to land this right that they're going to take the risk of working with content creators again. And not only that, but it's not just in a one-off sense. Like, here's our test round. We're looking to implement this in a week. To my knowledge, Fatal, feel free to correct me, they haven't put a hard date on this. They're committed, I think, to working at this in a test environment until it's something that there can be a tepid handshake on between you guys and the devs.
I'm not sure this one, just because there's been, like, again, they are being very responsive and receptive, and like,
yeah, and they haven't
and,
put
like,
a hard
so
date
much of
on
this has just been
anything.
like, well, I'm saying, like, so much of this has been like, again, this is kind of the return of the test program, and there's just a bunch of kinks to have to hammer out that, like, even if there was a date, I wouldn't even be that surprised if it got extended, just because, like, they're figuring stuff out, we're figuring stuff out. It's very much a work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, things are in a pretty good spot now, but, there was still, like, some days of adjustment and figuring out, like, oh, the way we're testing doesn't quite hit this spot right, or like, oh, there was a weird bug here, so we needed to throw out, like, a day of tests and, like, redo it, right? Like, I have no idea if there's a hard day cap, but I mean, keep in mind, Relic Delta. I keep on seeing
I'm not
this.
Asking you to answer for what you may potentially not know, but as far as anything that they've shared with you, there's not like we're looking to have this closed up by end of October. I've not seen or heard anything like that.
I keep on seeing thrown around that, like, after the Stranger comes, like after, like, it's like 3 or 4 conquests from now.
Oh wow, okay,
it's like,
okay, yeah, sometime.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like too. Yeah,
them floating this now makes me think it's going to be Q4 or Q1.
Okay.
I don't know where it came from, so
Q1.
I don't know where it came from, so take it with a grain of salt. But I keep on seeing that in various communities. Is like, it sounds like Q1 basically.
Well, so, Q4 is January, and then Q1 is June. Yeah, right, because they have their quarters kind of like askew. So their Q4 is like January to March, and I expect it like end of March or like through the summer, basically. From when them announcing it now, usually it takes them 6 to 8 months of developing a game mode, and if they're working with community people to develop their game mode, I expect it in like 6 to 8 months.
Well,
still.
Well, thank you, Fatal, for letting me pick your brain. Yes, Dagger, TJ, Sasha, floor is open to you. By all means.
I will just say this, because I know you and I've talked about this on a couple of your streams, so I will let TJ and Sasha and Fatal do the bulk of the talking here.
That's fine. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think that overall, it's probably going to, when they implement it, it's going to be a bad change, because they're not going to have it right. And that's okay, because they didn't with Datacrons either, and it took them like 4 months. I don't know if the game will survive those 4 months. We'll see. I assume they will. I've already said in the past that I think that if you do this in small numbers, it's probably fine. I like Fatal's idea of the Relic 3 Delta gap, because if they're trying to raise the floor to R7 with R10 coming out, that just logically makes sense. I also like that people are learning a new term, Delta, because that's a term that I've been using in my day-to-day work life for about a decade. And I personally would like to see this somewhere close to like the 5 to 10% per relic level. I don't know how you scale it, but I've kind of like increased my original thought of 2 to 5% to 5 to 10%, mostly because I'm sick of the whiny bitches and now I just want it to be more aggressive.
Mhm.
Because the petty part of me is just like, you know what? I want this to hurt your soul. But yeah, I think that overall it's a negative change to the game, but a necessary one. And we'll just wait to see how it all kind of shakes out.
All right.
Mhm.
So I'm going to take my stance as I'm going to go on the necessary side. I'm going to go with they're not trying to do a Marvel Strike Force. Let's just layer on top of layer on top of layer, and they're trying to change the definition, and that takes work and that takes time and effort. And again, I've talked to the people, I've looked at them, and the people who take the constructive side are on a more positive footing, in my opinion. Cautiously optimistic is where I'll take it. When you read that lengthy, very, in my opinion, one of the best laid out things that Meat has ever done when it's come to an explanation and a Q&A and literally feeling like a complete circle of information that was actually, you could see they took the time to put all the pieces together. The people who were complaining and throwing out different things that was doing gloom, they had some other answers in there too. They had the whys. One of the hardest thing you can do on anything you're going to put out for response is a why. Why is this happening? Why are we doing this? And they were trying to hit all of those aspects very, in my opinion, very eloquently. And they really put I don't think people understand how much goes into it, that they're not trying to let the game die. They really want the game to make an adjustment, that they're coming to the point, hey, we don't know it. How many times have we talked about it for the years where we're the beta tester, where, oh, now it's in the game and we're looking at this, and then you see the basic flaws that come with it, right? When you're, it's so comical to say anybody could do a 1 minute match or one match and see what's happening. And here they're not trying to do that. And to your point, Cass, we talked about it. I know I heard Kamir and the stranger, but it's again to what Fatal said. It could take longer. They don't want to get it wrong. They are investing in the game to try to make it better. So everybody come out naysaying without any constructive feedback um, does nothing for anybody. So I'm going to applaud CG. I know you said it, and I'm going to stand by it. I think it's great that they're trying to define what relic means. They're trying to say that, Tash, you've invested this amount of money. That holds merit. We want the people who are also moving up in the game to one level out where they need to, and then be able to catch up as well. They've already said they're going to adjust the valves. They're going to allow it to flow differently to try to get people to come up. You talked about that. The Relic Delta 3. So it's very frustrating to me that we're not even giving them the opportunity to do this. And again, hearing it's very positive to me to hear Fatal say, no bullshit, and he can give me a candid response. That we never got it. So it's very frustrating when you're doing that. They never let it talk to us. We didn't even get to know who was in the damn game changer program and all these things. And here they are. Hey, we're open the door. You know, we know it's coming. And yes, it's gonna come. I applaud them for it. I'm gonna sit here and wait. Again, cautiously optimistic. And let's see where it gets to, because nothing is set in stone yet.
Yep, that's fair.
Yeah, it's you go, Slash.
Sure. I was gonna. I think my perspective is pretty similar. I actually, and I'm a fairly passive observer on all of this. I'm not and directly involved. Obviously, very interested observer, but I give more weight and importance to how this is being done than what is being done, and that's what, like, I have to acknowledge that, like, Relic Delta, yeah, I get it. I mean, first of all, any change is hard. The longer people do things, the more deeply invested, the more sensitive to change. So the community and the magnitude or like extreme reactions, they don't surprise me. It's understandable, but and I think the risk is, you know, potentially really serious if it were done wrong. But out of all the stuff that we've gone through, and honestly, like even with what I've observed, and I don't follow the game updates as closely as most people, frankly, as closely as I reasonably should, given how much time I spend playing the game. Um, but out of everything that I've observed, probably the weightiest, like most impactful for me personally, is hearing Fatal's articulation of like his experience and his observation and seeing how they're approaching it. And I find that really heartening. You know, we have like a pretty deep investment in the game and just in the experience of playing the game, the community and everything else. Like Dagger's mentioned, like, gosh, if it were just the game, we probably wouldn't do it. But there's so much more to it. But the health of the game is like this, you know, sort of critical prerequisite for us to have the community. And the approach that they're taking is really good to see. And I was kind of brokenhearted in the past. I've played this game since the year it came out. And when there were the blow ups, and I thought, I don't know who was involved, whatever, but just really unfortunate sort of blow-ups around the community and the connection and the feedback cycle, and that led me to be concerned. And look, I've been much more on the business side than the consumer side of software in my life, and I can understand where CG was coming from. And I'm like, oh man, I'm just afraid they're going to be shooting in the dark too much. How do I know there's a connection that they sort of understand and have a finger on the pulse of the game and getting the feedback loops that they need? And this makes me feel really good to hear that the deliberate, sensitive, open-minded, responsive approach to it, all that to me feels weightier than the relic change. All that being said, you know, I hope they get it right. But that's totally my view. Is like I actually find it heartening.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't really hear anybody naysay it here. So, show of hands in the room. I assume we're all kind of okay with Relic 10. I don't know that I don't know that the word is positive, but it's just like, yeah, I'm not surprised. The game needed to advance, right? How long have we been sitting on Relic 9? So
I was going to say,
excited. Like we haven't had a new Relic level in like 3 fucking years.
right.
Now, am I excited? Am I excited and oh my god, I can't wait to have this happen? It's like, no, that's not the kind of excited I am. I'm excited because it's like I have something to work towards. I have something to start working on. I have progression to make.
Yeah, and explicitly,
you know what I mean?
Explicitly per CG, new content associated with it. So yeah.
So I'm excited in those aspects, not like, you know, Christmas morning excited. You guys get what I'm saying. I'm excited for it. And I think it's positive because progression's good. I don't care what anybody says. Moving the goalposts in games like these are always good. Mm-hmm. As 5 of the people who help keep the lights on, we all want the goalposts moved, albeit maybe at different paces, but we all want the goalposts moved.
How about the rest of you guys? Yeah, please go ahead.
I don't know how you can define it as bad or anybody else. To me, they're tying Relic 10 with the Relic Delta. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't feel like they're just throwing on another layer of cake. They're actually trying to make sure that what you ingest means something. We don't even know what it's going to define as or what it's going to do. We saw Relic 9 and it was like, yeah, this is cool.
You know, an astute individual might actually look at the situation and see, oh, well, if they're Relic 10 and I'm currently at a part of the game where I am making things work with my Relic 5, a lot of Relic 5 roster against a lot of Relic 8, Relic 9, I might just be entirely outclassed if I end up starting to fight any number of Relic 10s without something like the resources added through the Relic Delta system to help push me along towards that kind of potential Relic 7 floor. So it's almost as if they're doing a favor for everybody who's already not looking at approaching that Relic 7, Relic 8 floor.
I think it's just they've given us this. To me, comes out. They're saying Relic 10 comes with Relic Delta, and as if you heard a guy who's actually doing the testing say, well, I've seen some things thrown around, but don't have an exact date. That means it could be 6 months before we see it. So yes, to your point, we have notice. Again, we're being made aware of what's happening. We don't know what it means. We don't know what it does to the game. We don't even know the stats or anything that comes across, but hey, we know it's coming. And so with that, you get to make informed decisions.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, it's all wait and see. Some people asked in one of my streams the other day, it's like, so Tass, what would you do right now? Would you be, investing in new characters? Would you wait and see on everything? I'd say like whatever people are already going for roster advancement in terms of that next team or whatever, or that next ship, definitely still go for that. If you were waiting to think about who you wanted to whale on, or you're thinking about who you're really wanting to push up on relics, maybe you wait on that until we have a firmer direction. But, I didn't know before this recording what type of time scale we'd be talking about for Relic Delta. I was thinking, gosh, maybe 1 month is too soon, but maybe by the end of the year. Now, nobody's saying they've heard this through official channels, but scuttlebutt through the community is this might not be, in game until maybe the first 3, possibly even the first 6 months of the next year. If that is the case, then yeah, definitely don't deny yourself something that you're, needing for raids, for performance in Grand Arena, for what have you. I don't know if you guys have any other parting words to offer people about Relic Delta. Any final thoughts here? Well, not final, but where we are at this point in the road. I say keep the faith, because I'm trending warm on this. Is my short directional statement. I'm trending warm.
I keep cautiously optimistic as my realm of where I try to live on.
I'm
Star Wars is
choosing to
built on
interpret
hope.
that as trending warm.
Yeah, well, I'm happy with the idea of it if it comes as a positive setup for the game. I'm okay with the change of a definition, but I also agree with that. Everything that's come in, they can get 95% right, but we have to go through 5% of shit for it to come out. So I think you have to expect it, right? They got it. They did get Datacrons right. So I expect we're gonna come in and it's like, this is way too fucking much, and all the testing you can do in the game ain't nothing until it's actually live and it's in your hands. So that's
and also regarding Datacrons, if you remember, we had a conversation between us. I think might have just been TJ and Tass and myself when we were planning for something. We had a conversation about what would make these better, and we basically kind of not saying that we are responsible for this at all, because people are allowed to come to the same conclusions independently. But we did talk. But we agreed between ourselves that 4-month sets, 2 active at a time, would be ideal because of whatever the reasons we had then were, and that's what they did. And I think that this change will have very similar effects to the game, where when it first comes out, I can almost guarantee you it's going to be not great. There's going to be bugs. It's going to be pretty miserable, just in general, as far as the game is concerned. But I'm also pretty sure that it'll take us 1 to 2 months for the player base to kind of figure out this is what we want. And I'm also pretty sure, based on past decisions and past behaviors, that CG will do something close to what the player base wants, as long as it continues to print them money like Datacrons currently do.
It's not just, so I agree with that. I agree with what you guys just said, and I kind of back to what I'm more inspired by here is the process, the channel of communication, the working relationship, just that sense of okay, I think Relic Delta, yeah, it's gonna have a bumpy landing like everything in this game. And I also understand that. This game gets exponentially harder and harder to manage as it ages, and there are all these different elements and dimensions to it. So yeah, like mods, like Datacrons, it'll have to be tweaked. But the fact that they're approaching it this way, the fact that they have this engagement and interact, they understood that it's critical. They have a channel of communication. They're getting feedback. This gives me hope. You compare that to where I've been, for the last couple of years, of feeling I don't know that anybody knows we're necessarily alive in here, and that like, hey, GAC keeps doing the same thing. I love this. My favorite mode in my favorite game, and it's clearly broken because the Rhodians are dropped in there all the time. And the number one
Yeah.
player in the world, 1 to 2 months out of the year, is somebody that doesn't know they're playing the game, right? Like
Yeah.
that's a problem. And the fact that we have this process makes me think, hey, there's a real light of hope. Eyes on you, Fatal. To like have some channel of communication and have a sense that, like, yeah, look, there's going to be some tuned or responsive direction here. So yeah.
All right. Well, guys, appreciate that. There was a good extended discussion on it. Lightning round here, and I mean, let's be quick about it because we got a whole bunch of patron questions to get onto. But as far as first Relic 10, I'm gonna take the easy one off the board here and say Lord Vader. Haha, I beat you all. All right, who's next?
I'll go.
Go.
Ezra.
Ezra. Good choice. Exile Ezra. Dagger.
Whatever the latest conquest unit is.
Okay,
Fair.
he says Maz. All right.
No, it'll be like the Stranger or whatever.
Okay, there
Right?
you
It'll be
go.
whatever the current meta character is probably the first one I'll do,
Okay.
which will most likely be whatever the last.
Okay. Sasha, how about you?
I don't think this answer is going to be accurate, but I'll say just like Dagger had mentioned, some 8 was like 7, if 10's like 9, maybe it's a tank and protection matters, and it's JML to make him like I don't know, closer to relevant again.
I like it. Yeah, not knowing anything about what Relic 10 gives, I was willing to say I'm not going to go wrong with Lord Vader, and you could make a similar case for JML. That's fair.
If it makes you feel better, I will commit to Thrawn.
All right. Wow, that is a radically different answer than the first one you gave. So I guess I'm glad you firmed that up.
It's one of those things where, I mean, I know you said lightning round, but it's one of those things where it's like, we don't know what R10 is going to benefit, and I'm spitballing here that it's going to benefit support and it's going to make people tankier, and I think Thrawn would be really hilarious if he was unkillable.
Fair.
That's why I said Ezra.
Yeah, that's a solid choice. Fatal, how about you? Who's the 10? First 10. Dart at the wall.
My snarky answer is you don't get to choose your first R10. Your TW officers will shut down all of your hopes and dreams and make you.
It's true.
do
But
the first
indulge
5
me
towards
here.
ships that.
Ain't
Indulge
that
me
the
here.
fucking truth?
We're on fantasy fucking island, all right? That's
You'll-
where
you'll
we
be
are
forced
right
to
now.
In before it's Admiral Radis.
I was going to say I fear Fatal is speaking an R10 trench into existence.
You'll be forced to R10 5 fleet pilots, and then the TW fleet meta
Fair
will
statement.
adapt so that nothing actually matters.
Yeah.
So that,
Yes. Well, yeah, the
could've put
arms
it there.
race will push us all up to a new floor.
Yeah, probably like Vane or Pirate King Hondo, or probably both. Is
Okay.
like
Okay.
if you're
Solid.
not doing Ezra.
Okay. All fine choices. Appreciate that, guys. All right. Let's get in to the patron questions. Pull that up right here. Okay.
Also, I
go ahead.
sorry, just
Yeah.
a lightning round addition that I forgot to add.
No, please.
I see a lot of people who are like, I can't believe that they're having fatal test this, don't they? Fatal mods, fatal blah blah blah. Look, they are asking us to test with very specifically lined out, like, we're looking for mods with, correct sets and primaries and maybe about 15 speed and minimal synergy secondaries.
Yeah.
like-
I mean, not only just for my own personal interest, but I guess for people out there, did they happen to share about criteria about what they were looking for in people that they wanted in this test program? Like what details about their account? Because I would assume that there's a variety of players and player styles within the testers. So I'm assuming that between you guys, they're looking to cover a variety of extreme cases that each of you might be more inclined to explore. But what can
Related
what
point,
can you
are you
share
testing
about?
with your accounts?
And I'm testing with my mods. So like they tell me, hey, we're looking to test with average mods. I'm going and equipping some 15, 13 speed stickers that have like flat or random unrelated roles. I'm looking at SOH.gg. I'm looking at the most popular sets and primaries. I'm playing the team the way that I know that everyone does, rather than the way that I do. I understand people's concerns, and I've been very clear from the start that like testing needs to be done under realistic conditions and what that means for various test changes. I am the last person that you need to be worried about not representing conditions realistically. I am the person who is making sure it is as realistic and close to live server as possible. So
Good to know.
don't you worry.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so they're saying though, as far as you know, CG wants from the testers people just to test actually something that's generally representative. Then, so they're not actually looking for you to push anything crazy. Which means
what I said is
which means as far as future opportunities to test with CG, it's anybody's game.
What I said is literally what happened. They said, "Hey, we're looking to test with average player mods. We're looking for around 3 speed hits and minimal synergy secondaries." There are other times where, like, the stuff today is like, I am trying to prove out that, hey, current Relic Delta 3 is too spicy. Even if I go crazy mods and crazy cron, it's too spicy. And so it's a very active part of the test of like, well, what are the conditions under? Is this crazy mods? Is this average mods? Is this... Yeah, it's all very much an active part. Like again, if I'm in the test, this is the stuff that I am constantly going to focus on, even if they weren't focused on it. That like, yeah, I'm gonna make sure it happens. But they are also making sure it happens too. So like, you have nothing to worry about.
Good deal. All right, guys. First patron question up from Supermart. Sneaky good teams for 3 versus 3 with the new crons? I know we kind of alluded to this when we were wrapping up the last 5 versus 5, but and I know you said it earlier here just tonight, Fatal. So as far as Pirate King goes, it's Pirate King with OG Hondo, and then you're thinking to run Silvo. I know we talked about Vayne a bit in our last episode. I don't know if that's sneaky for the folks at home. You might expect that. Not a lot of subtlety from variety of the crons in this set because they're pretty specific in who they call out. But I'm thinking Undermans with, Slacker and Special Forces for high banners, allowing me to do, I don't know, C, Dre, Malik, something like that on defense, just to see what could happen for fun. Dre's just nasty in 3 versus 3 with the AoE getting divided by 2 less targets. I'd like to see if there's anything to that. Like the idea that this Special Forces cron allows Slacker enough power where he's not really needing Dre. Therefore, for the first time since we've had Dre, you actually have some real incentive to consider parting her out. I don't know how viable that is.
Dre.
Sorry?
I say people forgot about Dre.
Yeah. Anyway, Sneaky, I don't know yet. I think Sneaky's going to come from application of focused Datacrons for their stats on some teams, but that's going to have to get played out. Nothing immediately jumps to mind. What do you guys have to say?
Really, I think this is one of the most honest sets we've had. This is, like where I said, I know
Yeah.
Sasha said it himself, right? He was feeling uninspired because there's not a lot of hidden. It's generally good stats, dark side bulk, and then they've got a old school Ray setup is back. SLKR with Special Forces is back. It's a rehash and a revisit on some stuff, right? So it's like, so dark side bulk is back. So the Malguses of the world get to play with the Trey, gets to play with those teams who like the general things. We've played this game before, and so I mean, obviously we're going to figure out the Pirate King setup, and hey, maybe you can get thriftier because OG Hondo Kron is amazing, and maybe he goes off on his own because he's a solo killer again. Week 1 data will definitely be it, and that's where I think we'll be doing a big one. We'll come to that, but this is a very honest setup where we're at right now. There's no cheeky things that I saw anyway, from my opinion.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, the clever or interesting defense you're going to be able to set is if you can find something cheap that beats Hondo. And then you can set something stronger on defense. Otherwise, I think a lot of people are going to be saving a couple of teams just for some flexibility in case their first attempt doesn't beat it, because we don't know what comp they're going to set. We don't know if a certain comp shuts something out, right? We don't know if they're, you know what I mean? Like, there's just too many unknowns to where I think the sneaky defenses you're going to see week one are the people who have a solution to Hondo in threes. I am not one of those people, so I do not have any sneaky defenses for you. But whatever they use to beat Hondo, whatever the conventional use counter for Hondo is, being able to draw that with Hondo and just set your whole back wall of teams that team has to beat, that's going to be the sneaky
And
team.
And since
Basically.
Pass is the streamer on here who always faces Erodiums, as the only other streamer who's in the group, we'll watch Fatal because that's where we'll get to see a real thing. And then he'll do something with Bad Batch that will be unrealistic because of high defense. And then we'll go to be normal people and use Leia.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Other answers to this, guys? Anything else anybody who didn't get their 2 cents in? Anything sneaky you're thinking about for week one? All right.
Just I don't think there's too much room for sneakiness in modern Galaxy of Heroes 3v3. Well, okay. Here's the problem. I know this is a week one podcast, but Maskanata is a fucking problem. And I don't think people are ready for just how much of a problem she is, and I don't think people are prepared for, like... It's funny, man. I saw people posting Trey on defense for, like, the first time in ages the last couple of months. It's like they remembered she was a team again, and they weren't just going to make her sit on the bench anymore while they used 7 GLs on offense. They actually remember, like, oh, I should post it on defense. Yeah, fucking welcome to the real world, bucko. Maz Kanata, ignore your protection and deal 4 times damage. Is cutting that dream short. And so it's just weird times ahead for Sith squads as they... If you catch a whiff that Maz Kanata might not be on your opponent's defense, that is just an entire faction banned from getting posted. And that is something the likes of which I don't think we've run into too often before. And broadly, I have been known to enjoy Sith on defense in the past, and so I am almost giving an anti-answer to the question. It is less possible now than ever to post sneaky teams on defense. We're running out of real estate, so to speak. But then again, Maz Kanata does have some amount of... She is kind of coded as being a defense team, so maybe that's the hope, is just that she's nice enough on defense that you're going to want to post her. But
here's hoping her AI isn't dog shit. Here's hoping her AI isn't dog shit. Otherwise, yeah, she's just offensive. Probably.
She does turn 1 cooldown increase. She's fine.
Okay, cool.
All right, next question here from Aussie Mike. Can you break down the pirate splits and where each team's meant to go? And if they're on attack, what kind of teams are you expecting to use them against? Personally, feel free to echo off of this, guys, or spring off of this. But yeah, you're going to have Pirate King. We're all pretty unanimous about OG Hondo there. We might have some flexibility about who we're thinking for the third, whether that's Silvo, Vayne, don't know. That's like one team. And then, you do have the Kixcron. So you could do Ithano, Kix, I don't know, Quiggled as a B team somewhere. It depends on the part of the game that you're in, because like in the top of Kyber 1, for example, teams like that are kind of, unless you're going to set it bottom front and your opponent sets heavy and you're maybe offering them an interesting choice, a team like that, Focus Datacron or no, doesn't necessarily have the teeth. But I would say you get 2 teams, this week. Once Maz Kanata joins the game, you technically would have 3 potential pirate teams, although how good of 3 potential pirate teams for a 3 versus 3 defense? I would argue you probably get like 1 really good one out of that. Maybe 2. I don't know. What do you guys have to say?
It depends on how you want to budget it, because first off, goddamn well you're going to set the second pirate team all 3 rounds because you're going to lose to Sasha and then fight 2 Erodiums. So goddamn well you're set. Second, I think it really depends on what your budget is, because I think, at least myself, week one, round one, I'm probably going to set Silvo Vane, and I'm going to put Hondo with Athano and Kix. I think.
I don't hate that.
That's the one I was thinking about.
But that's what I said. I think it depends on what your budget is, because I think so. I could be wrong here, but I think whatever kills Silvo Vane is going to kill Hondo Silvo for the most part. Now, there will be some variation, and Fatal can tell me why I'm wrong, like he usually does, and that's okay. But I think week one, round one, I'm going to start by splitting Hondo off.
I'm gonna go with it. To me, it's Datacron dependent. Will determine where it's gonna be at. I think even through week 3, you're looking at 2 teams. It's gonna be what's the correct setup. Hondo will be somewhere, and then where the other one is not, Maz will be there to do that. You'll have Kixcron to go on the Maz team because it's basically set for that as it is, and that'll do it. But I can't see a world where super teams aren't going to relay and how that works best.
Fatal, Sasha, what do you guys think? Pirate splits.
I'm similar to what's already been stated, so
Nothing new.
I-
All right. Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to belabor it.
No, nothing groundbreaking. That's fair. How about you? Anything else to add, Fatal?
When it comes to 3v3, like I think a lot of pirate stuff that doesn't explicitly include Maz Kanata or Pirate King Hondo is just kind of a tier below the standard line of play. Like I'll still continue to vouch that like I think a lot of people are sleeping on how nice Quiggle lead with SM33 can like do. Like I absolutely destroyed a gas squad using a setup like that. You know, that they just aren't built to deal with a full potential, full power, angry SM33, and they're just stuck whacking on a tank lead the whole time, and so SM33 is just full steam ahead, you beat up my dad, I'm gonna kill you, like, mode. But I'm not out here vouching as like, man, that's a B+ team. It's just like, it's kind of a cute gimmick team that can kind of beat up on some chaff, so like, yeah, I don't know. And also, I usually pair that squad with OG Hondo, and OG Hondo is no longer available, so it's a slight loss of tempo. It's probably just throwing kicks or whatever instead. Might even help their protection banners, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to sweat it too much. Like, to be honest, up until this week, I've never even brought them in modded. Like, just period. I just didn't care to. Yeah, like I said, right, I just don't think they rate in current level play. But just for novelty's sake, I might just bring him this week just for the heck of it.
But when you get Maz,
calling gas chaff in the year 2025 is wild.
Yeah. Look, man, when Relic 10 comes out,
I'm not saying you're wrong.
When Relic 10 comes out, maybe we can give Gas and Fives Relic 10 and he can finally hold his CLS. Relic 9 didn't do it, but maybe this time for sure.
The fact that CLS 2PO 3PO kind of just skull fucks that team is kind of depressing in threes.
All right.
This time for sure, man. We got it this time.
No doubt. All right, next question here.
I thought Sasha said something.
Oh, no. Sorry.
No worries.
All right, next one up here from Quig. What are your FDC plans for this season? And I think we've done a good job of sharing that here earlier in the show, Quig. Am I crazy to not be terribly excited to level any of them up? I think you should be reasonably excited about Radis and Trench. I really love the stats on Jawa. And then, yeah, Aiden, like, this was a good cron when we had this Aiden effect on a regular Datacron that you took up to level 9. I think it's incredibly expensive to basically get up to a slightly juicier version of that. But yeah.
I hope to prove you wrong. we'll see this week. I'll try to report back. I am living in the world that maybe there's something there. I agree with the trench. I think everybody's gonna unanimously pretty much on the trench and the Radis.
Mm-hmm.
But I want the Minodora.
The Jawacron is really cool because it allows you to rotate your Wampacron off of your Seer team.
I already told Tass I got a 335, 340 Jawa engineer ready to go just to see what I can see if I can have any fun with it. But you're probably right. It'll probably be stat things.
I'm not here to yuck your yum. All I'm going to say is justice for Bodhi. He's a pilot. You're welcome. Don't say CG never did anything for you. Now R9 and you pleb.
He's actually flagged for R9, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm living on the world. I'm trying to get all FDCs ready to go. I would like to see if Iden's Kron can do anything because it has some cheeky stuff in there. So I'm hoping.
Yeah. I think Iden's is sneaky good specifically in threes. I don't know if it's one you're going to. For the majority of people, I don't think you're going to build this maybe for this season, but I think for next season, you will find uses for it.
I like the threes. I don't know about the fives. Like having a limited threshold. Yeah. So it's like, if you're doing it, it's doing it now. Because there's no way it's one of the 11. I'm sorry. There's just no.
Yeah. And I think
are you thinking in threes? Quickly, TJ and Dagger, when you guys are looking at it as offensive utility or placing on defense, because I could see how those mechanics could exploit like dumb AI defensive squads, so you may be able to punch up with it. Is that your thought?
100% thinking offense because it has a reasonable stat spread, and more importantly, range trooper with the counterattack plus Iden being a tank. It's just like, I guess I'll just brat you back into eternity. As long as you pick your matchups reasonably well, I think this team is going to be able to kind of clown fuck some. What would Phalo call it? Chaff.
One of the 15 is a tough one though, Sasha. I might just to see where it gets at. Maybe it's the back wall 15th. But that's also saying it's tough because then we're playing a really, as Fatal would dig on me, a very old game. If you're doing it, it's literally a week one to get away with something cheeky if you've got it. But again, anybody who's reasonable, this is the last FDC you're building. This is not the first or even the second.
I also don't see Adrad or Trench really moving the needle in 3v3. I think Adrad is definitely better than Trench in 3v3. But I don't see either one of these being like, oh my god, I have to get this so I can set it on defense, or because it beats this meta thing. I don't know if that helps, but yeah, the first cron I did was the Jawacron, and that was for because Spock's an asshole, and also because I wanted to have the Wampacron have essentially a second Wampacron, kind of.
Fair. Fatal, any thoughts there? Any of these that you're not terribly excited about, or anything you want to say back to Quig here? Am I crazy to not be terribly excited to level any of them up?
I already talked to that. I think the Radis one sounds pretty good from a effects perspective. Like, a lot of the crons are pretty whatever to me, stats wise.
Fair.
But yeah, no, I'm not too worried about it.
Next question up from Saldak. Thoughts on how the B-Wing will shake fleets up? Obviously, Home 1 won't be on the level of Profundity, Executor, and Leviathan, but could it join Negotiator in the second tier? I think what I recall seeing about the B-Wing is that it's very much their intent to bring Home 1 out of the basement and into a space where it's competing with the likes of Negotiator and Malevolence. What say you guys? I think that's exactly the plan.
I think,
and that's exactly why it doesn't move the needle for me at all.
Sure,
I didn't need another fleet of that caliber. Like, best case scenario, it lets you set your Empire fleet, I guess, to maybe bleed another banner or two. I don't know. I just don't. Maybe I guess what I'm saying is maybe this team you can set it to. Maybe we'll have to see how fast the team is with Biston. But Biston historically has been pretty quick. And maybe it steals a couple banners. Maybe you can set it.
It also depends if this is the only Rebel ship that they intend to add to the Home 1 fleet.
Well, it is this quarter.
Okay. Good to know.
Well, and I think that's the thing, right? It's because obviously MILF is not there. They're still expecting your Abrad's gonna stick with your Abrad team. They're gonna sell all there. So it's back to the Biston setup. I guess the Biston Bigs, and we're going there. Then who's the third? Because they've already called it out, and the call out. So that. Oh yeah, there you go. So Kyle, but that's what I'm saying, right? They've already called. This is a reinforcement where we didn't know what we were doing with the last one with Rogue One. This one they already called out. This is to reinforce. This is not one that's it sounds like an opener.
Yeah.
Yeah, I view this as sort of like directional, like more is going to come ultimately for the Akbar fleet, but like,
Yeah.
but I don't view this as like this meta impactful on its own, but like this is the little stirring before there actually is the real sort of seismic shake for
To be
that
fair,
fleet.
it feels like a great gimme though. If they're calling this the reinforcement for the setup, and they're doing Drogon, I know for us, like I'm sure all of it R9 on your Drogon. I don't have many R9s, but I know that's one of them. So it's like to me, this was a great gimme because you're gonna have 6-dot mods on your Drogon. Everybody's gonna
You're
have
right,
6-dot.
TJ.
It's like it's a free to me. It's free food, right? One pilot giving on a thing that's going in a reinforcement. And we saw what the Rogue One could do. You could be 3-star, and that was destroying stuff all the way up to Leviathan. So I'm hoping that the B-Wing is going to come in and do the same wrecking to where you can get to your 5-star and then just build it up. This isn't one that's going to insta change your GAC match. So you can feel like, all right, I'll go spend $100. I'll get it to where I need to, and then I'm going to get my 7-star eventually.
My angle is. So I think when you look at the kit, I think when you play out the Radis fucking, I don't know what it is about Mon Calamari. I swear this isn't a bit. I swear I'm not racist. It's fucking.
Wow, we're about to hear the most fish bigoted shit that has ever been said. I'm not racist, but here we go.
Yeah, the butt.
No, I just keep on fucking the names up. I was literally looking at Akbar too. I just don't worry about it. Anyway,
they're not all the same guy. Damn,
they all look the same. Yeah, they all look the same.
Jesus.
And immediately what comes in.
When in a hole, first stop digging. No, I'm just kidding.
no, he's one of the good ones.
Oh my God.
Home One and Master Plan. When you game out what it's going to be capable of, I don't think it's taking out the top 3.
Yeah.
And so from that perspective, like, I don't see any reason to post it on defense if you're assuming that both sides are going to hold the top 3. Because that is just like, well, okay, so it's just going to die to top 3 and that's it. Again, I don't know if I'm just, my brain has been irreversibly damaged in this way that I just look for it now. Master's Plan sounds pretty dang good on offense, right? You get the turn 0 opener, you can optimize the crap out of it. Maybe this is just like I'm doing with Rogue One against Exec with Profundity. You just go 2 starting ships plus B-Wing first reinforcement, and you just figure out like a super optimal opener that you just destroy whatever Radis or Malevolence or whatever be it. Yeah, man. I like maybe that's enough. Is like, okay, well, I could use Exec against this Malevolence and like possibly take some bleed or a spy snipe a ship, and that kind of sucks. Or I just take this, Rebel B-Wing and do some cool stuff with it. It sounds fun as hell to play on offense too. Like, not that that has any bearing on our decision making, but if the chips happen to fall that way, I don't think I'm going to complain.
One thing is that if your opponent is hell bent on saving all 3 metas, like you said, this actually probably opens it up for you to set all 3 metas because they're probably just if they're going to set any of them, they're probably only setting Executor. And I don't know. This may allow you to set all 3 because now Negotiator or Galactic Republic can freely take on their Executor, and this can just like kill the Nego or the Mao that's just kind of hanging out there. I don't know. Food for thought, I guess, for people. I assume that people are going to be terrified to set things on defense, Even though I still think, from a banner perspective, the strictly correct thing to do is the set triple attacker. But c'est la vie.
If you set triple attacker, though, doesn't it get like 78 or 79? by
Yeah,
profanity?
No,
Yeah.
well, no, they're going to get a 76 or a 77, which they're going to get us that or higher versus anything the fuck else you set. And if you use your triple attacker on offense, have fun bleeding a banner or two, I guess. And I'm just not planning to do that.
Yeah, the only thing using on triple is you can get your own 77. If they're specifically setting Tarkin, you can get good banners with your triple.
Yeah,
Other than that,
if I put Executor, it's benched because it's bad on it loses one banner on offense. Maybe sometimes two, and that's not good enough if I'm trying to be efficient.
All right. Fair. Next question here from Miasmal. What Datacron do you think is the sleeper and overlooked? I think we've answered here with a couple different ways now that it doesn't really seem like there's much of that. What I would say, if anything, is we're all kind of focused on the few obvious crons that you want to pick up for these factions that are outlined. And outside of that, you should be thinking about level 6 variety. Like, for example, Fatal alluded earlier to the damage reduction level 6 for pirates. Not 100% sure I'm going to ever prefer that over the long text, but wouldn't you like to have the option?
Ben Solo is probably the sleeper. Ben Solo is better than the level 9.
Yeah, Dagger has made that case. The Ben Solo could potentially be more powerful here in 3 versus 3. People might be underappreciating that. And then stat sticks.
You don't whirlwind ever. And I just don't think that's... I think if you're on defense, right, the Raycron, you'll just never whirlwind. You'll just ult. And I think Ben Solo better because it works to throw the... I know Fatal has talked about like clocking before, and what Ben can do is like randomly remove turn meter from people. Not randomly, he does it, right? But like having him mess up your turn order and mess up your sequencing could actually lead to banner bleed and or losses. And I just don't see the Ray Fastall doing that. Sorry, I interrupted. My apologies.
No, I was just going to double down on what you were saying. We've had that Ray effect before, and I remember it explicitly making the team worse last time, at least in 5v5. Because of what you said, that she if she gets the ult, she's going to prioritize ult. And so depending on, like, 3v3, obviously there's less people taking turns, there's less bodies, so maybe more of a chance for her to take turns in between. But yeah, man, I would be very cautious with that Ray level 9. If you're planning on running a week 1, gather some data, or if you run it the full week 1, I would definitely check for sure and see how you feel like it's performing. The problems listed are less of a problem in 3v3, but are still concerning to me.
Okay. And
I got up to beat this Markron, which looks super slick, but I don't know how good it's going to be or how much utility it's going to have.
I don't think it's that good, man. That level 9 looks pretty bunk to me. Like, I don't know when that's going to be doing a lot for you.
On offense with Starkiller.
Yeah, even so. All right, second question here from me as well. We're going to do this one lightning round style. Second question, is pineapple and Canadian bacon blank on a pizza? He missed a verb or something there. I'm assuming acceptable is what he's wanting. Is a pineapple and Canadian bacon acceptable on a pizza? If it's not my dollar, the answer is yes. Who's next?
I think the moment you add pineapple to a pizza, it becomes a flatbread. So I'm going to say no, it doesn't belong on pizza. Okay. But there's a pretty good Hawaiian flatbread you can make.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Next up.
That's my go-to, so I say yes.
Okay. That's 2 yes, 1 no.
Sorry, I'll wait till Fatal's done. Sorry.
Fatal, Sasha, where do you weigh in on the pizza question?
Oh, I'm a yes. I think it's totally acceptable.
That's
I happen to enjoy it.
Yeah, I would eat a slice of it. My thing is, I don't know that I want a full pizza of that. It's like 1 or 2 slices, I feel like would be my cutoff, and then you start to get into like overindulgent territory, or just like the bit kind of wears off and it's too much sweet.
Well,
So to those
I
who
mean,
said
would
yes.
you consider it a valid construction of pizza, or would you be like, I'd eat it if, like nobody's saying, would you eat it if you had to, or would you eat a whole pie of it? It's just when you think of this pizza in your mind, you're like, yeah, I accept this as a valid form of pizza or not.
It's sweet and savory. It's like basic culinary 101 as a principle.
Sounds like a
On
yes to
thin
me.
yes. So I guess just to clarify my point, and I want to ask you guys this: when you talk about this, we're talking about flat
All right,
like
and that
thin
concludes our lightning round on pizza. Next question from Shake
crust. We're talking about thin crust
23501.
pizza, right? Because I would not put this on dough like hand tossed pizza ever. But on thin crust, which is why I made the kind of the comment about flatbread, it's like, yeah, if you have a crispy crust to go with this, it's good. You have like a thin crispy crust. And I don't know why this had to be lightning round. We should, as a fat guy to another fellow fat guy with probably some at heart fat people in this chat, since I don't think they're all that, and they're not as fat as us. I think we should be able to talk about food without it being a lightning round.
It's because there's other questions, and I don't want to be here all night. That's the
Yeah,
technique
but just think
being
about food,
applied.
which is more important.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Just in. Fat guy wants to talk about food. More at 11. All right. Shake 23501 coming in with the what are the odds of you doing my territory battle and raid? Plus, how long for my vault that I was promised when joining your Patreon tasks? You're gonna be waiting. And by that I mean, checks in the mail. Should be there any day now.
It's like my hoodie.
Look for
Same
that real
thing as
suit.
my hoodie.
Dude,
Yeah.
dude, you never did get that, did you? None of you guys
Never,
did.
never.
Man, I got to reach out to them,
No.
just get refunded because
The girlfriend and I wore old and new task hoodies on one of our hikes this weekend.
Mhm.
Not kidding. So I got both mine. Y'all are bums.
Yep, left out.
I'm
Left
super
out in the
not
cold.
happy with those guys. I got to follow up with them because they were fine taking my money back in the spring. Here we are in October, so good stuff. All right.
Yeah. You ordered TJ's hoodie last spring, and then you tried a different vendor, and I already got the hoodie from that vendor.
Yeah, not last spring, this spring, thank God. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not good. All right. Next question from Striker, who is obviously a patron, but is also a top 50 player in his own right, and we would have loved to have actually had him as our special guest. But unfortunately, our own schedules here on this side of the pond meant that we'd be starting this recording at about 11 p.m. Eastern, which is the dead-ass middle of the night for him over there in the UK. It was no sale this time. We might try and get him some other time soon. So all that framing given, he asks, why do you guys keep such unsociable hours for Europeans to join you? And yeah, it's just that whole work-life balance thing. Dagger's got family, TJ's got family. Both of them are clearly casuals who are willing to put their families, their livelihoods above glory in a mobile game. And so you get what you get, man. That's just the way it is.
They've got you on Saturday. What motherfucking do they need? They need to just take what they're getting.
Sid made it when we had Sid. He made sure that he made sure that he made time for us. I feel like this is just a lack of willing to wake up an hour and a half early by Striker. And that's very clearly
To
what
be fair, correct me if I'm wrong, when we had Zid on, that was us actually recording at like 5 p.m. our time. So we started something like 11 p.m. his time, which is less ungodly than what the proposal was for Striker this time.
He started at midnight his time. So midnight to 2 a.m.
Still less ungodly.
No, not arguing that. I'm just saying that instead of saying that we are on unsociable hours, how about you try to be around when we're around?
Fair enough. By the way, you're kind of faded out. I don't know what's up with that, but
he just said hashtag America. All he said was hashtag America.
Fair.
This may shock, but the way I am doing this episode is on speakerphone on my phone.
Yeah. All right. Second question, real question here from Striker. What's the Pirate King Hondo team in threes? Well, we've already covered that 15 ways, buddy. My gut is Vayne and Silvo, but happy to be told I'm wrong. Yeah, I mean, Hondo Silvo, Hondo Vayne. I think, for those of us that were discussing the idea of making good utility of the Kixcron here in this week, maybe Athano, OG, Hondo, and Kix, so that implies something like Vayne Brutus with your Pirate King. Any of these would be worth testing, but yeah, as we discussed here, probably a variant of Pirate King with OG Hondo would likely be strongest and most prohibitive to any type of cheeky punch-up counter. All right. Last one here from Banja. Where do we go next with fleets? We're now coming up on 2.5 years with Leviathan as the primary fleet. CG has stated with the Rogue One release that they intend for Leviathan to remain at the top, which seems to indicate no new fleet is on the horizon. Is this good or bad? That's an interesting question. What do you guys have to say?
Neutral.
Bad.
Neither good nor bad. TJ says
No,
bad.
it's flat out bad. And the reason it's bad is you talk about the progressions everywhere else. This is you literally have a crystal income set to fleet. Unless you're going to remove that income, you're seeing people who are 10 million or something like that. Everybody's got their 7 stars. So it's you want to talk about progression. Progression in fleets needs to happen as well. And we've talked about it before on mods or adding some of the mechanic to try to stimulate the gameplay there.
Mhm.
But the stagnancy of I'm just going to adjust another character so that Leviathan stays top is, to me, unacceptable.
Can I push on that?
No, not yet. Let me finish the thought, and then I'll say
you can break up in whatever you were saying, but yeah, go ahead, TJ. Finish your thought first.
To say you're going to play the game, it needs to be the whole game. If you're going to have progression on ground, you still need to give some kind of love to the fleet, especially when there's an income that's related to that setup. And that's where I'll leave it.
I agree with everything you said except for one thing. I think that leaving Leviathan as the number one fleet incentivizes people to get that fleet, especially since it's locked behind a conquest ship and a conquest unit. And it makes it easier to get your 400 crystals every day. So if they want to keep crystals in arena or in fleet arena, I think it's a good gentleman's agreement to just keep Leviathan the number one meta. Now, the other thing, the reason why I say it's neutral is because while you're outlining one half of it, the other half of it is when we get another meta fleet, we get a fourth fleet on the board. I'm almost sure of it. And I don't really want to have to fight fourth fleet. That's just not something on my to-do list.
What say the rest of you, gentlemen?
Sorry.
Hey, Sasha. Thoughts?
No,
Feelings?
No sentiment. Either way. I'm
You're kind of
Don't care.
okay with where the fleet meta is. You don't think it's in a bad
I
spot.
am. I mean, yeah. And what I think is going to happen is at some point. I mean, everybody's talked about Red 5 forever. That like at some point, some new Rebel fleet will probably drop in. But I'm fine. I mean, personally, the less attention I need to pay to fleets, the happier I tend to be in the game. So I not shaking that meta up is fine by me.
Fair. Anything to add from you, Fatal?
I don't enjoy fleets. I don't care about fleets. I like people who claim to be fleet lovers. I look at their accounts and they have like a fucking 66% win rate in fleets. Like they're just DJing gambling addicts. I don't know. If fleet were to happen, I would hope that it would be something more significant because like broadly when a new fleet comes out, it's rarely like a positive addition to the game. It's just like, oh, here's a way for you to drop 20 banners in GAC sometimes if you're not careful. Sometimes even if you are careful.
Yeah. I think that like you guys, like I don't think that as far as the fleet meta goes, I don't think it's in a bad spot in the sense that fleet has always been about maximizing RNG. And we have a pretty consistent kind of rock, paper, scissors thing going. at the same time, I welcome the idea of them. You know, we know that we're expecting additional bounty hunter ships, which means it's right. It's like cat and mouse, right? Like we're saying that Profundity just got a lifter. Now it's kind of shit stomping Executor. It seems that Executor would soon be getting at least one lifter with Forlom, Zuckuss, so on and so forth. And now you've got B-Wing for Home 1, to say nothing of something like Red 5. What I would love is if we're talking about having Home 1 being lifted into a state of some type of viability, even if it's just, as good as any other B tier fleet, I would love to see that tied with that full vision of Red 5. Make it like a really, truly, fully fledged fleet. Introduce it at the same time as you expand the fleet zone to 4 fleets, and introduce that with the Death Star raid that I have always wanted to see. How, in a world where we've done Zoomy on Speed Bike, how did we not do this in the Death Star Trench already? What are we doing? Why have we not done this? It's got to get done, and that would be the time to throw that all together, in my view.
The same way we did at Luke's X-Wing piloted by Rey.
I mean, whatever. I'll take my lumps.
No. There are certain things. If you're not doing pineapple on pizza, fuck that. Rey ain't doing that damn X-Wing.
Like I said, when I gave that answer, I said if I'm not paying for it, it's fine. Let me tell you something. This might shock all of you here on the panel and all you at home looking at me on the camera. I'm not the type of guy that says no to free pizza. This may shock you, but yeah. Pineapple, put anchovies on it with the pineapple. If I'm not paying for it, it's a good slice. Now, if you wanted to start talking about what I would order, radically different conversation.
If you put pineapple on a hand-tossed pizza and you try to hand me a slice of it, I will decline you.
Okay, well, see, that's fair. That's this guy.
All right. Thin crust, yes. Hand-tossed, no, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. That brought us to the end of the Patron questions. Thanks to all of you who participated, and we'll do our best to get them all in again next month. All right, guys, that brings us back around to takeaways and final thoughts. What a long, strange trip it's been over the last couple hours. Feeling good though about where we're going into for this first week, and in large part thanks to Fatal for shedding some light on his experience so far here in the test program, working on Relic Delta and Relic 10. I have a good feeling about this week. Let me pull it up on screen here so you guys can see. It looks right now, I mean, there's still plenty of time until the final week lock, but it looks like I want to say maybe one Erodium in the top bracket. An exciting time because it's also some folks I haven't run into lately, like Arsenal and Tom Ford. That should be some really fun stuff if I should see them.
Yeah, whatever. See you round 1, Tess.
Yeah, that's right. See you round 1. I'll go fight 2 Erodiums after I lose. All right, fine. All right. Well, that's pretty much it for me. Yeah, I'm pretty upbeat heading into this week. How about you, Dagger? What are your takeaways, your final thoughts?
I have an 8 a.m. local flight back home tomorrow. So it's like T-minus like 3 minutes till I crash. Thoughts about GAC. First 3v3 with Hondo is going to be interesting, I guess. I'll watch Cass eat shit. Any info I get from Fatal is going to have to be applied around too. Lord knows I won't be able to apply information I get from round 1.
All right, we'll have to stop you right there. And whenever you come back out of the pool, you're welcome to
He's
say
getting
goodbye.
waterboarded again. Yeah, he's getting waterboarded again.
Can you hear me?
Nah, you're gone.
So you can't hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Welcome back.
I was just saying, my GAC related thoughts are, I'm going to be able to watch you fight Hondo tomorrow night. And I'll watch Fatal, but Lord knows I won't be able to apply anything I learned from him round 1. So I'll have to use all that information for round 2. But yeah, it's first GAC with Hondo and T minus 90 seconds before I crash for my 8 a.m. local flight home tomorrow.
All right. Well,
So you guys
appreciate
have
that. All right, take care. All right, and on to you, Sasha. Your takeaways, your final thoughts.
I normally I'm really kind of bothered by like whenever all the defense crons dust, and we just went through that now, and I'm not. I actually kind of feel like it's. I think it's going to be an interesting week 1, and I'm going to be focused. I know we talked about it in the previous shows, but I think less on where certain Datacrons are and more back on sort of squad composition, possibly modding, and I think that's I think that's fun. It's part of what keeps the game a little bit fluid, a little bit moving, and a little different week to week, or certainly season to season. So yeah, no, I'm feeling positive, but. That's what I've got, Tess.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. TJ, your takeaways, your final thoughts.
Yeah, I'll let you know tomorrow right at GAC lock on how many I can actually roll. If I can get a couple more DCs, I'll be a lot happier. But other than that, I think it's yeah. I think it's generally positive, man. We're playing honest GAC. That'll be cool. Obviously, with Pirate King, what's it gonna take? And I guess the bigger answer is what's the lowest threshold that we can hit to knock something out? And then I guess is it with or without OG Hondo? Because I think those are different games you're playing. And then also, how far can we split our resources? So, always generally a fan of week 1 because there's a lot of questions we get to go try to answer. And that leaves more theory crafting. And I'm always a fan of being able to spread the board just to see what we get away with and then what gets to work and what doesn't get to work. So, biggest one, though, and I think it goes with Fatal. I'm not going to steal his thunder, but it's true, is I can't wait for Pirates 2.0, e.g. Maz, and seeing what the team actually does together. Even in 3s, I'm kind of excited to see where we get to. So I'm really excited to see that with the tie-in of the what I'm assuming is going to be is the Kixcron. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So
Okay. All right, and then Fatal, last but never least, your takeaways, your final thoughts as we head into this first week.
I think I'm long overdue for some rank repair that I would like to try to focus on this season, probably. Yeah, just like dropped a hearty amount of matches, whether it be via science or time or missing a round. That, yeah, probably long overdue for some rank repair, and I don't know how much mobility for new stuff I necessarily have this season, so if the opportunity arises, I'll take that offensively. But yeah, I'm probably just gonna go back to the old me defensively until proven otherwise. So
Fair.
We'll see. I remember us enjoying the last few 3v3s, or at least Dagger and I did. So
Yeah. I've largely been enjoying them. Yeah, I mean, my biggest complaint's just been the rash of erodiums the last several months. But yeah, all right, appreciate that. And, going into this week, I assume you will be streaming live. Where can the good folks catch you?
Twitch.tv/PlaybookTV, YouTube.com/ThePlaybook.
All right. Well, again, here to you gentlemen, my co-host, thanks for joining me tonight. It's been a good show, and I have a pretty positive feeling on this week. Of course, all of you watching here at home, you know that you can catch me live at twitch.tv/Tassenix. I also simulcast from my YouTube channel, Tassenix Gaming, where if you've not been there before, you should check it out because there's a whole bunch of Slug-related content that you may be interested in. Stuff like the GAC Omicron tier list, the How to Mod Guide series, mod guides on characters and factions you've asked about, my past GAC VODs, and of course, it's a rebroadcasting point for this very podcast, Plotting and Scheming, which is native to Spotify, but wherever you catch an episode of our show, check the description. There is a link that you can use to plug it into your preferred podcast program and follow us that way. Anything that you enjoy over there on the YouTube, please do hit a like on the video. Hit subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. We just passed over 1,700 subscribers on YouTube recently. Really appreciate your support, guys. Thank you so much. Show goes on. And of course, if you want to go above and beyond the Call of Duty to support the stream, there are a few ways to do so. I do have a Cash App that is $Tassenix. I do have a PayPal that is tassenix@gmail.com. And if you want to get some enhanced scouting power for your own Grand Arena, early access to my content, and a couple other perks besides, you may be interested in checking out my Patreon, patreon.com/Tassenix. For any upwardly mobile Grand Arena player, there is something there of interest for you. At $5 a month, you enter the Tass House at VIP access level, where you get early access to the Plotting and Scheming show. That's coming out to our general audience Friday mornings at 8 a.m., but patrons get it as early as Tuesday night within hours of us recording, giving you that early edge on the first round of the week. In addition, I will occasionally make, patron-exclusive content that you'll have at least 1 month ahead of the general public. And of course, I have a dedicated text and voice chat on Discord, where I'm usually lurking, so pop on in and say hi. Thank you so much to Andrew, Banja, Boba Iza, Deadpool Cow 28, JJ's Productions, Jobin45 27, Miasmal, Mus Ross, Rays Malbus, Sam Vimes, Sheepdog 47, Squed, Stark Strategy Gamer, Sweens 14, and White Wolf. Moving on up to the $10 a month tier is VIP Access Plus, where you get a bundled Patreon access to me and your choice of either OmegaBot or Hot Utils Patreon. OmegaBot's that tool I highlight at the start of all my Grand Arena streams, with those graphs giving you an easily understood sense of what your opponent's offensive and defensive tendencies are. Anybody can use that tool for free to scout their opponent's last week of Grand Arena history, but only patrons can build out a custom report with any number of weeks. You get a downloadable HTML version of that report with links that you can click, going right back into swugga.gg or Insight, just helping you save even more time on your scout. Alternatively, you may spring for the Hot Utils Patreon, aka Chili subscription, which is your #1 tool for mass mod management and loadout creation. Nothing else lets you switch so effortlessly between your Grand Arena, TB, TW, and Raid mods. You can use it like TJ and Fatal do, using that powerful automation feature to comprehensively remod your roster, slice through hundreds of mods in seconds, help out your guild and TW, a whole bunch of good stuff in there. Regardless, no wrong way to go at VIP Access Plus. Thank you so much to Aussie Mike, Darth Salea, Esh Sotnikam, JJ's Dad, Meow for Me, Mr. Tony, Shake23501, Single Malt Jedi, Snack Attack, Striker, Superbard, Trouble Fingers, and Zoltre. At VIP Access Premium, this is $15 a month for the Double Bot bundle. So Patreon access for me, OmegaBot, and Hot Utils all under one subscription. Going out and buying those bots anywhere else costs the same as this bundle, which is why so many of my patrons say this is one of the best values in all of Swugga. Thank you so much to Argots, Arj, Bjorn, Big Ninja, Palladus Invictus, Duckstab, Darth Link, General Milan, Ibanek, Johnny B. Ottawa, Kev, Mini GK, Pills, Plume, Quig, Rawling, Saldak, Sir Boss, Sophus, Sprizzle, The Lost Womp Rat, Trevor Boy Gaming, and Wilco. And at the top of the heap, in Jester's Club Elite, the one, the only Nomad's Reaper, this madman pops into stream from time to time and goes crazy, dropping hundreds of subs, thousands of biddies, carrying hype train records on his back, year in and year out. Thank you so much for your incredibly generous support, man. Special thanks first go out to The Lost Swamp Rat, one of my patrons who went above and beyond the Call of Duty to help me set up my stream deck, making life easier for me on the back end, doing what I love doing here with you guys. Thank you, Womp. Appreciate it. Mrs. T, my wife, thank you for all you do in the background, whether that's just bringing me something to eat or drink while I'm here on stream, or just keeping our daughter from tearing the place apart while I'm trying to be the very best that no one ever was at a phone game. And of course, to my co-hosts here on Plotting and Scheming, Dagger, TJ, Sasha Aisha, and Fatal. Gentlemen, as always, it has been a pleasure and a privilege to record our show together. Despite the pressures of work and family, we still managed to get together here and belt out yet another episode. I learned a few things from you guys. Hopefully the feeling is occasionally mutual, but regardless, it's not about us. It's about the community that's popped up around our show. The things we talk about are catching the ear of a lot of aspiring Grand Arena players, get a lot of feedback, positive comments about the show. And I have to say, you guys make it what it is, make it worth listening to every week. So thank you so much. All right. We've made it here to the end of the line, and yeah, I'm generally pretty positive heading into this. I think we're all ready for a pretty seismic meta shift with the expiration of set 22. No more Dracron, no more support cron for Queen. It's no Hodocron. It's a brand new day, and I for one am ready. I welcome it, arms wide open. Until next time, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's been real awesome. Take care.